Okay, hello. I'm here. I was grabbing my tea as usual. Hi everyone. Hi True. Hi Pyramidal. Yeah, King in Yellow. Hi Poke. Hi Mazuko. Hi Sooner. Hi Marcy and Chili and Alex B and Guaco. Can we get a little shout out for Guaco, please? Hi, the Gallant Exile and Stardust Torna. Congrats, Sooner, on getting the first snack. And thank you for lurking, Speedy and Silent. I appreciate it. Also, hi, Mazuko. How you doing? Oh gosh, head pats. Hi, Maria. How is the background noise? Can you guys hear the thunderstorms okay? Can you hear it alright? Hi, Frauder. Yes, say hello from the office. But I'm doing good, Maria. I'm doing good. Hi, Pyramidal. Hello. I know it's been a while since we last read The King in Yellow, so this is gonna be really exciting. Thunderstorms? Oh no. Okay, well that answers my question. Okay, wait, hang on. There we go. Is that a little bit better? Can you guys hear it now? Hi, I just... Hello. Hello. Is the lightning too loud? There's hi, Professor. Hello. Alright, so we are a little bit into The King of Yellow, admittedly, from where we left off. We are now at the chapter of the yellow sign. Is that a good level? Okay, perfect. Hi, Zog. How's your favorite snake goddess? Or your favorite snake? She's doing well. You're tired and staying awake to not lose my streak again. I'm sorry. I know I meant to start earlier, but then my partner came in with a bunch of like clothes fresh out the dryer, and they put it right on top of me, and I was like, oh. Also, thank you, Alex, for the 20 stream streak, and Pyramidal for the 3 stream streak. You know what this means, though? For the 20, we get bean time. Yeah, yellow. I redid my hair. I actually had to recolor it because my original King in Yellow recoloring was in my previous computer. So it may not be completely accurate, but I did my best. But thank you again for the 20 stream streak. I really appreciate it. Yeah. I'm just no. No. Not with that name, dude. No. Not with that name. Hi, Larcade. Hi, Corvo. Marcy. You get the special beans. Oh, you get to pet the beans. For 50 stream streak, you get to pet the beans. There's hello. Thank you, Professor Weird, for the 20 stream streak. Yes, rotate. And have all 3 VODs of this on YouTube in a playlist to listen to whenever you want. It honestly may even turn into like a 4 stream streak. Who's to say? Who's to say, really? Thank you. I want to get motion like you someday. No, the 50 stream streak is crazy. I am Super Saiyan Snuppy. That is me. You're gonna lurk and try to get some sleep before work? Absolutely, Corvo. You get all the... Hold on, let me... Thank you. We'll just stay in this position for a little bit longer. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, we're not gonna do that. Actually, we're not gonna do that. Actually. Yeah, give him those head pats. He's been a very good boy. And she last me tickle. Hey, I am on the y-axis. It's true. Also, I don't know if I said it yet, but in case I didn't, hi Joyful. Hi Punished. Pet le doggo. Oh, you wear the head pats as well. Hi, the kitten plays. How are you, baby? I'm gonna ara. Let me take a sip of my tea. Ara. Awa. What kind of tea am I sipping? My usual, my hot cinnamon sunset. I need it. It keeps me alive. It keeps me going. That is the tea that I am sipping. Become one of us. I'm gonna be lurking and working because I need to get some administration work done that I ignored today. Oh no. Man, no, I have no worries. We're gonna go ahead and yap just for a second more, and then, because I have to adjust my mic, so I'm sorry. And then we're gonna get into reading. I'm actually really excited to get back into reading this. I kind of missed it, I'm not gonna lie. Like, for the past couple weeks, I was like, you know what, we haven't done a King in Yellow ASMR in a hot minute, and I really want to finish the book. Have a good stream, goddess. I shall enjoy the VOD. Wait, Ham, don't leave yet. I think this was you, no? I think this was you. Did you get me the frog, Ham? It did. It made it. I'm gonna leave the stream on. No worries, Joyful. Absolutely, you guys get some good rest. Also, hi Blue. Hi Amirian. So much fun rage baiting me when I ignored my work. That's on me. Oh no. But yeah, no, it came in. I'm really excited to use it for like more traditional ASMR nights. Besides like the story reading, but I may do a little like from time to time. Have a good night, Joyful. Mwah. How am I doing? I'm doing good. How is everyone else doing? Did anyone else get to see Iron Lung at all? I'm playing Dota for 10 hours straight without stopping. Help. Oh no. You are surviving. We love surviving. Surviving is key. Surviving is fun, hot, and sexy. I love that for you. Whoa. Gombore, gombore. Welcome in, welcome in. So I stayed up long enough to skip over being tired. Oh god, true, no. Currently chilling in bed and I haven't, but I want to. Ooh, for me, today was the last day to see it in theaters. They're not showing it anymore. But I really hope that they bring it back. I know that there's been talks about it being extended a week. So I hope that they do that for my local theater. I want to see it again. Yeah, little war crime, Narpy. Oh my god. The mangoes. I knew I was forgetting something. It's not here in theaters in Mexico. I thought that they were getting some in Mexico. Maybe I'm wrong though. Alright, the mangoes are loading. February 11th is the last day for me to watch it in theaters. But I have class early tomorrow, so I just want to stop by and say, no worries, Temmie. Thank you for stopping by. It really means a lot to me. You absolutely do what you need to do for your class and get some rest. It's stressful game time while I listen to this Snoopy. Yes, yes. Taco Dino. Hi, Dark Fact. Oh wow, Carcosa, Hester, all of that. Yes. Hi, Momo. All of that. Oh my god, Kid, Serena Fitzy, Sources of Souls, Lady of Arches, Temptress of Toes, Heiress of Ankles, Harlot of Heels, Tease of Tongues, Lordess of Licking, Goonsess of Glomping, and Polytomer's VTuber. Hello, hello. Also, hi, Verb. Oh boy, I sound pretty. Really? I messed with my audio settings a little bit today, so that's really exciting for me. I tried adding a reverb to my OBS and it didn't work. I have to pick Miu's brain about it. Thank you, Ham, for the tier 1 sub. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Mwah. I need 2 more names so you have 10. Because I have 10 toes. How to complete the ritual? Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Ritual. Wait, I got this. I got this. Thank you for the 1 sub. Ritual complete. I'm so excited to use this frog. I almost accidentally used it as like a fidget toy during a meeting at work today, and that would have been like disastrous because I was presenting. But I didn't though. I resisted, but it was very hard. Alright, we're gonna go ahead. Hi Ocean, thank you for the lurk. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get started. A froggo. Ham got me a frog. You gotta show off the frog toy to your colleagues. I will, I promise, I will. Are you guys ready? For the king in yellow. I gotta know before I start. Oh, thank you for the pets. It might happen later because I had to translate to captions. Oh, true. True. Alright. The yellow sign. Let the red dawn surmise what we shall do when this blue starlight dies and all is through. Hi, Night Slasher, welcome in. Get cozy with us. An informative speech I have to make just to do over 40k. Oh, I have to do one on AI for my work soon. I'm kind of excited because I get to be like, maybe we shouldn't implement it. Well, no, it's King in Yellow time. Yeah, cozy, cozy. There are so many things which are impossible to explain. Just like my job, Momo, which is project management. Why should certain chords in music make me think of the brown and golden tints of autumn foliage? Why should the Mass of Saint Cecile send my thoughts wandering among caverns whose walls blaze with ragged masses of virgin silver? What was it in the roar and turmoil of Broadway at 6 o'clock that flashed before my eyes the picture of a still Breton forest where sunlight filtered through spring foliage and Sylvia bent, half curiously, half tenderly, over a small green lizard murmuring, to think that this also is a little ward of God. So we're pushing theaters to, anyways, reading time. I hope that you were able to get Iron Lung over in Mexico Blue. It was a good movie. It was a really, really solid B movie, and I think more people need to see it. Just my opinion, though. When I first saw the watchman, his back was toward me. I looked at him indifferently until he went into the church. I paid no more attention to him than I had to any other man who lounged through Washington Square that morning, and when I shut my window and turned back into my studio, I had forgotten him. Late in the afternoon, the day being warm, I raised the window again and leaned out to get a sniff of air. A man was standing in the courtyard of the church, and I noticed him again with as little interest as I had that morning. I looked across the square to where the fountain was playing, and then, with my mind filled with vague impressions of trees, asphalt drives, and the moving groups of nursemaids and holiday makers, I started to walk back to my easel. I loved Iron Lung. No, it was so good, Night. It was so good. As I turned, my listless glance included the man below in the churchyard. Hi, Clear Feather. Welcome in. Included the man below in the churchyard. His face was toward me now, and with a perfectly involuntary movement, I bent to see it. Hi, Derpy Dad. Welcome in, get cozy. At the same moment, he raised his head and looked at me. Instantly, I thought of a coffin worm. Whatever it was about the man that repelled me, I did not know, but the impression of a plump, white grave worm was so intense and nauseating that I must have shown it in my expression, for he turned his puffy face away with a movement which made me think of a disturbed grub in a chestnut. Hi, Yarkin. I hope you're doing well. Get some rest. It's EP time. Yes, sleep well, Night. Yeah, it's King in Yellow night tonight. Hi, subs. Welcome in. I went back to my easel and motioned the model to resume her pose. After working a while, I was satisfied that I was spoiling what I had done as rapidly as possible, and I took up a palette knife and scraped the color out again. The flesh tones were sallow and unhealthy, and I did not understand how I could have painted such sickly color into a study which before that had glowed with healthy tones. I looked at Tessie. She had not changed, and the clear flush of health dyed her neck and cheeks as I frowned. Is it something I've done? She said. No, I I've made a mess of this arm, and for the life of me, I can't see how I came to paint such mud as that in a canvas, I replied. Don't I pose well? She insisted. Of course, perfectly. Then it's not my fault? No, it's my own. I'm very sorry, she said. I told her she could rest while I applied rag and turpentine to the plague spot on my canvas, and she went off to smoke a cigarette and look over the illustrations in the Courier of Francis. I did not know whether it was something in the turpentine or a defect in the canvas, but the more I scrubbed, the more that gangrene seemed to spread. I worked like a beaver to get it out, and yet the disease appeared to creep from limb to limb of the study before me. Alarmed, I strove to arrest it, but now the color on the breast changed and the whole figure seemed to absorb the infection as a sponge soaks up water. Vigorously, I applied palette knife, turpentine, and scraper, thinking all the time what a seance I should hold with Duval, who had sold me the canvas. Yeah, story time. We're reading The King in Yellow, subs. Are you excited? I know it's been a while. But soon I noticed that it was not the canvas which was defective, nor yet the colors of Edward. It must be the turpentine, I thought angrily, or else my eyes have become so blurred and confused by the afternoon light that I can't see straight. I called Tessie, the model. She came and leaned over my chair, blowing rings of smoke into the air. What is your title, Kin? I'm ready. Hi, Spartan. Welcome in. Get cozy with us. What is The King in Yellow? I'm so glad you asked. The King in Yellow is an anthology book detailing people's interactions with media of The King in Yellow. Basically, what happens is when you ingest any information about him, you become more and more curious, and the more curious you grow, the closer to him you become. Sorry, first time I'm hearing it, no worries. And essentially, he drives you mad with knowledge. That's The King in Yellow. It's kinda cool. It's kinda cool. It's very like eldritch, cosmic horror-y, like very much we don't know what we don't know, but the stuff we do know will drive us mad, you know? I still haven't showered yet. Go shower. Be unstinky. Be clean. Hygiene is sexy. So the more knowledge you gain from him, the more crazy you get. Got it? It's more like the more you know of him, the more insane you become. Well, then shower in the morning, Spartan, but you have to shower. Otherwise, you don't want to be like this canvas and get gangrene all over you. It's very odd. Yeah, it is interesting. I'm interested to see how this story turns out, because the last couple stories that have happened, one person started a cult that didn't go too well because it was a cult in his brain. It wasn't real. Hi, Pumpkin. Basis triggers, the options I have. Oh, I like tantalizer of triggers if you're gonna do that one. Yeah, and then the other one, there was this fountain in a sculptor's garden that was sculpted by the people. There was like a specific, hi Lime, there was like a specific faucet that filtered out this water that turned things into stone. So they experimented with what living things they could turn to stone, and it escalated until eventually, in a fit of madness, one of them threw themselves into the fountain and became a statue that later became not a statue, but they weren't quite the same after, obviously. Court of the Dragon. We did read that one too. That one was cool. I think that was the one, if I remember correctly, and you can correct me, Dark Fact, where the guy was like, he like had seen this person, and it was like a priest. He had seen a priest and was like, that man is of the devil, but I don't know why or how. And he like drove himself insane with paranoia, trying to find evidence of how this priest was like of the devil, until finally he was cornered by the holy man in the Court of the Dragon. And we never saw him again, because he got banished to the place with 2 moons. It was pretty cool. Hi, Vigo. Also, hi, Noko. Thank you for the head pats. Thank you. Let's see what Sooner said. I don't know why, but my brain recently made me think that God, Christianity 1 would technically be considered an eldritch being, because we can comprehend him, and he creates things that scare us when we see them. Yes, be not afraid, my child. I remember my Catholic teachings. I grew up Catholic, and I went to like a Catholic high school and a Catholic college. It is in my brain. Honestly, I mean, it checks out just a little bit. Yeah, we're talking eldritch beings tonight, Noko. We're reading through The King in Yellow, and we are at the story of the yellow sign. Yeah, Cthulhu. Cthulhu, or even the creature in the iron lung, if you've seen it. You are an eldritch god, yes. Eldritch god Noko. I hope you're well, baby. Get cozy with this. Alright, to catch you guys up, The King in Yellow is really good. TLDR, the more you learn of him, the more insane you get. It's pretty fun. You can post your title on Twitter. I think once we hit 10 titles. Does Polytomer speak VTuber? I would say it does. Okay. Because horror doesn't mix with me? Yeah, no worries. You and Cthulhu wants to put those tentacles to good use. Marcy. No. Lacey, no. I can't with you. Don't shun the Gooner. Marcy is a mod. We can't shun the mod Gooner. Here, we're gonna pin this until the end of stream. That way people know what they're getting into when they come in here. Also, yay, Eldritch Beings. Oh wait, fuck. I meant to skip the ads. Here, we'll wait here until they're done. Hi, mixed boy. Hello. We'll do some tappies while we wait. Yeah, I won't keep reading the story until everyone is back. I don't like the way that one sounds. Oh, it fell. That's why. I have the book that I like to do tappies on. I've required it. Do you just nope the ads? No, I meant to. But it says that they're gonna be done in 1 minute and 40 seconds. And I don't wanna go through the story without everyone being here. Hi, Ever. Absolutely, Noko, you get some sleep, okay? I know that it's really late. My ads started but disappeared. Weird. Having a wait, what? What? Having a horny bat on you comes in handy? What do you mean, Spartan? Also, Gunther, thank you for the lurk. Yeah. Other times I don't. Yeah, it's true. Hey, Sock. To bonk. I see. No worries. Yeah, ads under the ASMR category run very differently than normal for some reason. So sometimes it will show ads, and sometimes it won't, and sometimes what happens is what happened to you, where it will start to show ads and then it'll be like, oh wait, this is ASMR, we don't push ads in ASMR. So then it stops them like halfway, which doesn't really make any sense to me. But the sighs aggressively. Why are you sighing with your comrade? That's your homie. That's your home dog, Skillet Biscuit. Alright. Everyone should be back from the ads now. We're gonna hop back into the story. For anyone new here, we're reading The Yellow Sign. And from what I can tell, it's about an artist who's about to go a little crazy over the fact that his model looks super sickly on his canvas. Doesn't mean crazy shit isn't said on a regular. No, that's fair. I noticed that it was not the canvas which was defective, nor yet the colors of Edward. It must be the turpentine, I thought angrily. I don't know what that means, Spartan. Or else my eyes have become so blurred and confused by the afternoon light that I can't see straight. I called Tessie, the model. She came and leaned over my chair, blowing rings of smoke into the air. What have you been doing to it? She exclaimed. Nothing, I growled. It must be this turpentine. What a horrible color it is now, she continued. Do you think my flesh resembles green cheese? No, I don't, I said angrily. Did you ever know me to paint like that before? No, indeed. Well then. It must be the turpentine or something, she admitted. Damn, Spartan. She slipped on a Japanese robe and walked to the window. I scraped and rubbed until I was tired, and finally picked up my brushes and hurled them through the canvas with a forcible expression. The tone alone of which reached Tessie's ears. Nice fucking pee-pee, bro. Okay, let's see. They're used as a solvent and thinner for oil paints and varnishes, as well as for cleaning brushes and equipment. Yes. Oh wait, did someone ask what turpentine was and I missed it? I'm sorry. But yeah, no, that is what turpentine is. The tone alone which reached Tessie's ears. Oh, no, it was, oh shit. Sorry about that. I was betrayed by my tea a little bit. Some cinnamon dust got stuck in my throat. No, me saying I don't know what that is was in regards to Spartan being like, I'm gonna Persona 3. Like, I don't know what that means. As a featured artist on Fortnite, you can get cosmetics of her in game. Guess I checked out an album of hers, Organize. She's a good singer. No, she is a good singer. Yeah, it literally made me choke. It literally made me choke. There you go. I was wondering why I was lagging, and it's because I forgot I had a tab open that was like like a page of 80 tabs, so I just closed it now. Hi Shu. Hello, hello, hello. Also, you're fine. Okay, okay. How you doing, baby? Hi, Firewolves. Welcome in, welcome in. We're reading. Hi, Trivacero. Yes, you're queen. I have yellow hair now. Oh! I'm so Hi, the shoe longster. There's another Snecky in our chat named, I think it's Classical Shoe. Or Classic Shoe. I always want to call it Classical Shoe, so I call them Shoe. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to like call you out specifically or anything. It's just a matter of a similar name coincidence. That's all. No shit, what's up, dude? Now you're a pair of shoes, exactly. Where's Wade? That's a shoe and it's crazy. I have 2 shoes, not that I think you guys would want me to wear them. Also, thank you, Marcy, for the head pats. But yes, let's see, where was I? Oh, you just popped in and you said, "What's up, shoe?" I got scared. You know, I would be too. Oh god, now I have to like figure out what to call you guys. I'll call you Shoe, and I'll call Classic Shoe Classic Shoe. Only don't you worry that because I'm not one of the shoes. Hi, Hagimoto Miyu. What do you prefer to be called, by the way? Do you like Hagi, Miyu, Moto? Looks like Moto likes you. I will, Firewolves. I'll wear shoes. Because Classic Shoe isn't the new shoe. Okay. Well, I don't know. My other option is calling you Longster, and I don't know if you want to be called Longster. Lobster. The Moto haunts me. No, cause yeah, it feels a bit disingenuous. That's what I'm saying. Oh, big stretch and hydrate. Okay. I'm big stretching. I'm glad you're feeling better though, Classic Shoe. I'm glad. Can I call you Moto? But no, actually, what do you like to be called? Enjoying the stream? Yeah. We're reading The King in Yellow, which is very exciting because I've grown to really like this book. The first chapter, I was a little worried. Because the first chapter was shockingly racist. I had to be like it was so bad. I had to be like, guys, I, Serena Nisi, do not endorse anything being said in this chapter. Oh, have a good night, Spartan. You sleep well. Also, hi, Louis. Louis. Hello, hello. And Colin is pretty much gone. Let's freaking go. Let's go. And call me the King in Yellow. Let's just say I drink. No. I'm not reading that. I'm not reading the rest of that. You can't make me. And call me Miyu. Oh no. Okay. I know another Miyu, so this is gonna get interesting if you guys ever get into a room together. Yeah, what a time to join the stream. Welcome in, Louis. Welcome in. No, it's okay, it's okay. She's not here now, so you're safe, you're safe. And then Mimi. Wait, that's so cute. Okay, Mimi. I'll call you Mimi. In the most platonic way possible. You're my Mimi. A lot of Lovecraft's work is shockingly racist, but Hevlater renounced those views expressed in his earlier works. Oh, that's because Lovecraft was racist. Like that's why. That's why his works are disturbingly racist. However, this actually isn't Lovecraft. This is some other man whose name I can't remember. Most of my friends call me Mimi as a nickname. Oh, perfect. Wait, I might say it at the top of the... hold on. I'm gonna find the name. I think it's like C is something. Uno momento. Oh my gosh. I'll find the name later. Hi, Pochita. Oh no, Chambers. Wait, what did I miss? What did I miss? So thank you for the pats. Yeah, you. Oh, yeah, Robert W. Chambers. Thank you, Sooner. Thank you. Was also racist. Why is everyone racist, dude? Like, why are all these old ass authors racist? I want one that isn't racist. I'm gonna find us a book, a spooky book from olden days where they weren't racist, as a treat for everyone. Also, they were on shrimp. Hi, Mr. Tacos. Oh, yay! Yes. Yay indeed. Thank you for the 2 months. Increasingly wary. Welcome in. Ooh, an Ara. When we reading Lord of Mysteries? Oh, I will consider it. I'll put it in my suggestions in my Discord, and we'll look at it. Mission Impossible, find an old book that isn't racist. In the era of science-based racism, you know what? You got me there. You guess that's just how it was back in the day. Unfortunately, unironically, that is just how it was back in the day. So hey, Dave the man, welcome in. Let's see. Sometimes I know, Sog. Have you ever read Lord of the Rings on stream? I've read the first chapter in English and in Spanish of The Hobbit, and that is the most that I've read of the Lord of the Rings. I'd be down to read it though. I love those books. When I was younger and I was growing up with my cousins, I used to read The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings series to all of my younger cousins and siblings. It's like a little rite of passage. Hi, bitchy. Yes, feet. Use some kind of public forum. No, that'd be crazy. I remember when I was in 9th grade, we read Of Mice and Men. The book was racist. So it was, it's true. And since we were a class of 14-year-olds, this teacher had to say the bad parts. Oh. There's a Spanish version of The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. Yes, there is a Spanish Hobbit. Because that piece of media is so popular, it actually has been translated into, I think, like, I could be wrong on the exact number, but I think like no less than 10 languages. Like, it's a very global series. I am the VTuber, it is true. Hold on, in case you haven't seen them, here is my feet. I've got a good set, you know. Whoa. Alright. You guys gotta earn the rest, okay? You gotta earn it. Is he called El Bilbo? El Bilbo. Soy El Bilbo. No, but it's secretly Puerto Rican. Yes, every single full of a took is Boricua. It's such a good series. It is so good. It is. Let's see. It is a banned book, Diffusions. That's true. Also, hi, Diffusions. Welcome in. It is comfortable with the word being said. Well, that was actually very nice of your teacher to do. Hi, Otto. I'm getting a game, which is I didn't know. Oh, we are? That's crazy. I didn't know that either. Alright. It's while you just casually greet people in grippers. But it amuses me. They didn't know I had them. In Spanish, my house, I think. Yeah, see? Okay. We'll read it on stream too, Sark. We'll read it together. Hopefully your day went well today. It did. It was very long. I'm very excited to finish reading this chapter with you guys. I am gonna take a sip of water real quick though, and then we're gonna get back into it. Only if I can read that part. Well, that in a way that makes sense to me, you know. Alright. I scraped and rubbed until I was tired and finally picked up my brushes and hurled them through the canvas with a forcible expression, the tone alone of which reached Tessie's ears. Tessie is his model for the canvas. Oh, they're so good, Sog. Nevertheless, she promptly began. That's it. Swear next, silly, and ruin your brushes. You've been 3 weeks on that study, and now look. What's the good of ripping the canvas? What creatures artists are. I felt about as much ashamed as I usually did after such an outbreak, and I turned the ruined canvas to the wall. Tessie helped me clean my brushes and then danced away to dress. From the screen, she regaled me with bits of advice concerning whole or partial loss of temper until thinking perhaps I had been tormented sufficiently, she came out to implore me to button her waist where she could not reach it on the shoulder. Everything went wrong from the time you came back from the window and talked about that horrid-looking man you saw in the churchyard, she announced. Yes, he probably bewitched the picture, I yawned. I looked at my watch. It's after 6, I know, said Tessie, adjusting her hat before the mirror. Yes, I replied. I didn't mean to keep you so long. I leaned out of the window, but recoiled with disgust, for the young man with the pasty face stood below in the churchyard. Tessie saw my gesture of disapproval and leaned from the window. Is that the man you don't like? She whispered. I nodded. I can't see his face, but he does look fat and soft. Some way or other, she continued, turning to look at me. He reminds me of a dream. An awful dream I once had. Or, she mused, looking down at her shapely shoes, was it a dream after all? Or my crown? That's my big always drama when I wait what? Smash to the ceiling, I'm reaching for the stars. Bitchy, what are you saying? What are you saying? Are those lyrics? Or was it a dream after all? How should I know? I replied. Tessie smiled in reply. You were in it, she said, so perhaps you might know something about it. Tessie, I protested. Don't you dare flatter by saying that you dream about me. But I did, she insisted. Shall I tell you about it? Go ahead, I replied, lighting a cigarette. Tessie leaned back on the open windowsill and began very seriously. Hi, Miyu. Mimi. If you're still here, this is Miyu. Can I get a little shout out from Miyu, please? How is Umagari? Yeah, your galaxy titties here. Hold on, I'll show them off for you. One night last winter, I was lying in bed, thinking about nothing at all in particular. I had been posing for you, and I was tired out, yet it seemed impossible for me to sleep. I heard the bells in the city ring 10, 11, and midnight. I must have fallen asleep about midnight because I don't remember hearing the bells after that. It seemed to me that I had scarcely closed my eyes when I dreamed that something impelled me to go to the window. I rose and, raising the sash, leaned out. 25th Street was deserted as far as I could see. I began to be afraid. Everything outside seemed so black and uncomfortable. Then the sound of wheels in the distance came to my ears, and it seemed to me as though that was what I must wait for. Very slowly, the wheels approached, and finally I could make out a vehicle moving along the street. It came nearer and nearer, and when it passed beneath my window, I saw it was a hearse. Then, as I trembled with fear, the driver turned and looked straight at me. When I awoke, I was standing by the open window shivering with cold, but the black-plumed hearse and the driver were gone. I dreamed this dream again in March last, and again awoke beside the open window. Last night, the dream came again. You remember how it was raining? When I awoke, standing at the open window, my night dress was soaked. But where did I come into the dream? I asked. You were in the coffin, but you were not dead. In the coffin? Yes. How did you know? Could you see me? Me's going to sleep? Good night, Maui. You sleep well, Bubba girl. You sleep so very, very well. How did you know? Could you see me? No. I only knew you were there. Had you been eating Welsh rarebits or lobster salad? I began laughing, but the girl interrupted me with a frightened cry. Hello? What's up? I said as she shrank into the embrasure by the window. The man below in the churchyard. He drove the hearse. Nonsense, I said, but Tessie's eyes were wide with terror. I went to the window and looked out. The man was gone. Come, Tessie, I urged. Don't be foolish. You have posed too long. You are nervous. Do you think I could forget that face? She murmured. 3 times I saw the hearse pass below my window, and every time the driver turned and looked up at me. Oh, his face was so white and soft. It looked dead. It looked as if it had been dead a long time. I induced the girl to sit down and swallow a glass of marsala. Oh, I love marsala. I'm sorry. I just really love marsala tea. Then I sat down beside her and tried to give her some advice. Look here, Tessie, I said. You go to the country for a week or 2 and you'll have no more dreams about hearses. You pose all day and when night comes your nerves are upset. You can't keep this up. Then again, instead of going to bed when your day's work is done, you run off to picnics at Solzer's Park or go to El Dorado or Coney Island. When you come down here next morning, you are fagged out. There was no real hearse. That was a soft-shell crab dream. That's what I'm gonna say to people whenever they tell me like some nonsense. I'm gonna be like, that's a soft-shell crab dream, my guy. I all riled up. Word, it's okay, look. Back in the day, jingle, jingle, jingle. Back in the day, this word had different connotations. This word basically meant like you were spent, but like spent in an excited manner was like the general use of it. Did it age well? No. No, the one that gets me is the soft shell crab dream. That one, I'm taking that one home with me along with Mystery Box. Or what was it? Yeah, it was Mystery Box. Gumbure. Welcome in. It does also mean cigarette as well. What about Up Dog? What's up with you? That was a soft shell crab dream. This is how I know they're in Maryland, by the way. Maryland or like Maine, maybe. If they're in the US, that is. She smiled faintly. What about the man in the churchyard? Oh, he's only an ordinary, unhealthy, everyday creature. As true as my name is Tessie Reardon, I swear to you, Mr. Scott, that the face of the man below in the churchyard is the face of the man who drove the hearse. What of it? I said. It's an honest trade. Then you think I did see the hearse? Oh, I said diplomatically. If you really did, it might not be unlikely that the man below drove it. There is nothing in that. Tessie rose, unrolled her scented handkerchief, and taking a bit of gum from a knot in the hem, placed it in her mouth. Then drawing on her gloves, she offered me her hand with a frank, "Good night, Mr. Scott," and walked out. What era are we in? They have gum? When was gum invented? I don't know, for some reason gum to me just feels so modern. The next morning, Thomas, the bellboy, brought me the Herald and a bit of news. The church next door had been sold. I thanked heaven for it, not that it being a Catholic, I had any repugnance for the congregation next door, but because my nerves were shattered by a blatant exhorter, whose every word echoed through the aisle of the church as if it had been my own rooms, and who insisted on his R's with a nasal persistence which revolted my every instinct. Then, too, there was a fiend in human shape, an organist who reeled off some of the grand old hymns with an interpretation of his own, and I longed for the blood of a creature who could play the doxology with an amendment of minor chords, which one hears only in a quartet of very young undergraduates. One was invented in 1848. Oh, hi Burger King, welcome in. That's so crazy. Gum is ancient, it's just tree sap. I mean, I knew that part, but I didn't think people used it like gum like that, I hope you're doing well, all riled up. Same with you, Burger King. Thank you. Alright, where was I? I believe the minister was a good man, but when he bellowed, and the Lord said unto Moses, the Lord is... oh, because it's nasally. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. My wrath shall wax hot, and I will kill you with the sword. I wondered how many centuries of purgatory it would take to atone for such a sin. Who bought the property? I asked Thomas. Thank you for the lurk, Sooner. You sleep well. Just enjoying the story. Okay, good. Nobody that I know, sir. They do say the gent what owns this here at Hamilton Flats was looking at it. It might be a building more studios. I walked to the window. The young man with the unhealthy face stood by the churchyard gate, and at the mere sight of him, the same overwhelming repugnance took possession of me. By the way, Thomas, I said, who is that fellow down there? Thomas sniffed. That there worm, sir? Is night watchman of the church, sir. It makes me tired of sitting out all night on them steps and looking at you insulting like. I'd have punched his head, sir. Beg pardon, sir. Make some gum. It'll be more really popular in a few thousand years. Could you imagine? Go on, Thomas. One night, I coming home with Harry, the other English boy. I sees him sitting there on them steps. We have Molly and Jen with us, sir, and the two girls on the tray service. And he looks so insulting at us that I up and says, "What you looking at, you fat slug?" Beg pardon, sir. That's how I says, sir. Then he don't say nothing, and I says, "Come out and I'll punch that pudding head." And I opens the gate and goes in, but he don't say nothing. Only looks insulting like. Then I sit someone, but his head was that cold and mushy, it's sickened you to touch him. What did he do then? I asked curiously. Him? Nothing. And you, Thomas? The young fellow flushed with embarrassment and smiled uneasily. Mr. Scott, I ain't no coward, and I can't make it out at all why I run. I was in the 5th Lancers? I was in the 5th Lancers, sir. Bugler at Telekabir, and was shot by the Wells. You don't mean to say you ran away? Yes, sir, I ran. Why? That's just what I want to know, sir. I grabbed Molly and run, and the rest was as frightened as I. But what were they frightened at? Thomas refused to answer for a while, but now my curiosity was aroused by the repulsive young man below, and I pressed him. 3 years sojourn in America had not only modified Thomas's Cockney? And here I am making him Southern. Cockney dialect, but I'd given him the American's fear for the Creole. You won't believe me, Mr. Scott, sir. Yes, I will. I have to think about a Cockney accent. You will laugh at me, sir. Nonsense. He hesitated. Well, sir, well, God's honest truth that iron and grabbed my wrist, sir. And when I twisted his soft, mushy fist, one of his fingers came off. One of his what? Ew, 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 ew. Sorry, no, that icked me out. I can lock in. I can lock in. Well, sir, it's God's truth that when I hit him when he grabbed my wrist, sir, and when I twisted his soft, mushy fist, one of his fingers come off in me, and the other loathing and horror of Thomas's face must have been reflected in my own, for he added, "It's awful. And now when I see him, I just go away. It makes me ill." The good old British slang, the good old British slang. When Thomas had gone, I bent to the window. The man stood beside the church railing with both hands on the gate. But I hastily retreated to my easel again, sickened and horrified, for I saw that middle finger of his right hand was missing. At 9 o'clock, Tessie appeared and vanished behind the screen with a merry, "Good morning, Mr. Scott." When she had reappeared and taken her pose upon the model stand, I started a new canvas, much to her delight. She remained... Mercy. We all lose a finger from time to time. Wait, what the fuck do you mean came off? That's what I want to know. Like, why is it in you? You know what I mean? Like, how did it get in you? Much to her delight. She remained silent as long as I was on the drawing, but as soon as the scrape of the charcoal ceased, and I looked up, and I took up my fixative, she began to chatter. "Oh, I had a lovely time last night. We went to Tony Pastor's." He listened to him. Yeah, in. He says in. "Who are we?" I demanded. "Hi, Golden. Yeah, color change. It's the king in yellow, so I gotta represent." He twists the finger off with his cheeks like, "What do you mean?" No, I think he like grabbed it. I think like he means like in his hand. You know? Like I think that's what he... Ow, eyelash in my eye. I think that's what he means. Because when he says he twisted the guy's finger off, so when he twisted it probably like he probably meant like in his hand, but when he said it, he said like in me, is what I would assume. So gombore. Welcome in. Hello again, Fenrir. And thank you for the follow. Get cozy with us. Found unexpected teeth. No, Sog, you put that thought away. Who are we? I demanded. Oh, Maggie, you know, Mr. White's model, and Pinky McCormick. We call her Pinky because she's got that beautiful red hair you artists like so much. And Lizzie Burke. Hi, Leviathan. Welcome in. I sent a shower of spray from the fixative over the canvas and said, "Well, go on." We saw Kelly and Baby Barnes, the skirt dancer, and all the rest. I made a mash. Then you have gone back on me, Tessie? She laughed and shook her head. He's Lizzie Burke's brother Ed. He's a perfect gentleman. Let's see, just make sure I didn't miss anything. And I go to the doctor and explain he thought no, Marcy, no. The whole time, Riz, m'lady, it'd be an honor to lose my finger within thy cheeks. That's crazy, Vigo. Being on a ram. He's Lizzie Burke's brother Ed. He's a perfect gentleman. I felt constrained to give her some parental advice concerning mashing, which she took with a bright smile. Oh, I can take care of a strange mess, she said, examining her chewing gum. But Ed is different. Lizzie is my best friend. Oh my god, Minerva? Hello, Minerva. How are you, my dear? Can we get a little shout out for Minerva, please? It's been so long. I hope you've been well. We're reading The King in Yellow tonight. Hey, where was I? Oh, I can take care of a strange match, she said, examining her chewing gum. But Ed is different. Lizzie is my best friend. Then she related how Ed had come back from the stocking mill in Lowell, Massachusetts to find her and Lizzie grown up, and what an accomplished young man he was, and how he thought nothing of squandering $50 for ice cream and oysters to celebrate his entry as clerk into the woolen department of Macy's. Before she finished, I began to paint, and she resumed the pose, smiling and chattering like a sparrow. Is a man in a suit and fedora appealing to ladies these days? I'm gonna say it depends on if it's well fitted and your vibe. Because if you have a fedora and you're kind of like weird in a pushy way, you're kind of feeding the stereotype. But if you're like chill, it can be cool. Also, gombore, welcome in, welcome in. I just downloaded a sample of The King in Yellow on Kindle to check out later. Yes, do it, Sog. It's a good book. It's a good book. And Greenwald not acting weird would probably be a good conversation starter. Exactly, Buckarine. Oh, where was I? Oh, here. Before she finished, I began to paint, and she resumed the pose, smiling and chattering like a sparrow. By noon, I had the study fairly well rubbed in, and Tessie came to look at it. Huh, that's better, she said. I thought so too, and ate my lunch with a satisfied feeling that all was going well. Tessie spread her lunch on a drawing table opposite me, and we drank our claret from the same bottle and lighted our cigarettes from the same match. I was very much attached to Tessie. I had watched her shoot up into a slender but exquisitely formed woman from a frail, awkward child. Oh no, is this gonna be one of those stories where he actually really likes her and then he gets jealous that someone else likes her? We'll see. Obviously not. Again, I think if it's well fitted to you and it's fashion forward, no, not at all. I think it can be, like Buckarine said, I think it could look nice. Oh my god, true, save your game. True, save your game. True, save your game right now. Save it right now. She had posed for me during the last 3 years, and among all my models, she was my favorite. Hi, Anonymous. I'm good, how are you? It would have troubled me very much indeed had she become tough, or fly as the phrase goes, but I never noticed. Okay, so this is early 1920s era. Early 1900s. I never noticed any deterioration of her manner and felt at heart that she was alright. She and I never discussed morals at all, and I had no intention of doing so, partly because I had none myself. The fuck does that mean? And partly because I knew she would do what she liked in spite of me. Okay, so you do have morals. You just don't want to admit it. You just don't want to admit it. Also, thank you, Sog. Thank you for the head pats. Yes, the war crime deserves all the head pats. The nap was too strong and messed up my Eve schedule. You didn't yell at her. Oh no. No. I'm not gonna yell at her either. Oh no. You just arrived home. Welcome home, Anonymous. Welcome home. Alright, where was I? Oh, thank you for the hydrate, Minerva. Still, I did hope she would steer clear of complications, because I wished her well, and then also, I had a selfish desire to attain the best model I had. I knew that mashing, as she termed it, had no significance with girls like Tessie, and that such things in America did not resemble in the least the same things in Paris. Yet, having lived with my eyes open, I also knew that somebody would take Tessie away someday, in one manner or another, and though I professed to myself that marriage was nonsense, I sincerely hoped that in this case there would be a priest at the end of the vista. I am a Catholic. When I listen to High Mass, when I sign myself, I feel that everything, including myself, is more cheerful, and when I confess, it does me good. Hi, K-Boss. Hi, Yura. Welcome in, welcome in. Thank you for the alert, K-Boss. Thank you, thank you. I missed the Snoopy. I missed the Yura. And then again, oh, it does me good. A man who lives... Oh, I lost my spot as I was reading. That's crazy. A man who lives as much alone as I do must confess to somebody. Then again, Sylvia was Catholic, and it was reason enough for me. But I was speaking of Tessie, which is very different. Tessie also was Catholic and much more devout than I. So taking it all in all, I had little fear for my pretty model until she should fall in love. I say it like that. But then I knew that fate alone would decide her future for her, and I prayed inwardly that fate would keep her away from men like me, and throw into her path nothing but Ed Burke's and Jimmy McCormick's, bless her sweet face. Tessie sat blowing rings of smoke up to the ceiling and tinkling the ice in her tumbler. Do you know that I also had a dream last night? I observed. Not about that man, she laughed. Exactly. A dream similar to yours, only worse. I almost heard Tessie. No, Tessie. I couldn't quite settle. I'm sorry. I'll post more story reading ASMRs to my YouTube for you guys, okay? That way you have something to listen to if I'm ever not streaming. How does that sound? I'm actually posting a new ASMR tomorrow. Are you guys excited? A new audio. It has little smooches in it. And it's for the ladies. It's a little A for F or F for F action, depending on how you want to see it. I get to call you baby and ask you for snuggles. There's keyboard ASMR in it as well. Little keyboard clickety clacks. I hope you guys really like it. I'm sorry. I will use my Mpreg spell on you. I locked into the chat. I'm sorry, Marcy. What? What? You're slowly trying to fix it though. I believe in you. I believe in you. Okay, we have 3 minutes until the ad break, and then I'm gonna yap with you guys, okay? But for those 3 minutes, I'm going to read. Okay? Okay. Hi, Trissamino. Is this part of the story reading? It is now. Not about that man, she laughed. Exactly. A dream similar to yours, only much worse. It was foolish and thoughtless of me to say this, but you know how little tact that average painter has. I must have fallen asleep about 10 o'clock, I continued, and after a while I dreamt that I awoke. So plainly did I hear the midnight bells, the wind in the tree branches, the whistle of steamers from the bay, that even now I can scarcely believe I was not awake. I seemed to be lying in a box which had a glass cover. Dimly I saw the street lamps as I passed, for I must tell you, Tessie, the box in which I reclined appeared to lie in a cushioned wagon, which jolted me over a stony pavement. After a while I became impatient and tried to move, but the box was too narrow. My hands were crossed on my breast, so I could not raise them to myself. I listened and then tried to call. My voice was gone. I could hear the trample of the horses attached to the wagon and even the breathing of the driver. Then another sound broke upon my ears like the raising of a window sash. I managed to turn my head a little and found I could look, not only through the glass cover of my box, but also through the glass panes in the side of the covered vehicle. I saw houses, empty and silent, with neither light nor life, but any of them excepting one. In that house, a window was open on the first floor, and a figure, all in white, stood looking down into the street. It was you. Tessie had turned her face away from me and leaned on the table with her elbow. I could see your face, I resumed, and it seemed to me to be very sorrowful. Then we passed on and turned into a narrow black lane. Presently the horses stopped. I waited and waited, closing my eyes with fear and impatience, but all was silent as the grave. After what seemed to me hours, I began to feel uncomfortable. A sense that somebody was close to me made me unclose my eyes. Then I saw the white face of the hearse driver looking at me through the coffin lid. A sob from Tessie interrupted me. She was trembling like a leaf. I saw I had made an ass of myself and attempted to repair the damage. "Why, Tess," I said, "I only told you this to show you what influence your story might have on another person's dreams. You don't suppose I really lay in a coffin, do you? What are you trembling for? Don't you see that your dream and my unreasonable dislike of that inoffensive watchman of the church simply set my brain working as soon as I fell asleep?" She laid her head between her arms and sobbed as if her heart would break. What a precious triple donkey I had made of myself. But I was about to break my record. I went over and put my arm about her. "Tessie, dear, forgive me," I said. "I had no business to frighten you with such nonsense. You're too sensible a girl, too good a Catholic to believe in dreams." Catholics can believe in dreams. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Also, hi Sarah, how you doing? Story's called The Yellow Sign. Oh, that's why you changed to yellow. Yes. Yeah, we're reading The King in Yellow, and then this one is The Yellow Sign. To say, dear, forgive me. Let's see, here we were. We all got our weird interests. Oh yeah, is that so? Is that it? To be fair, so I'm... Oh my gosh. Is the interest of several lady streamers I know. It's just nice. It's just nice. Damn, a triple donkey. I made a donkey of myself. Maybe a double donkey, but never a triple donkey. I've honestly never actually even heard that phrase before. Like, I think it's just like I wonder if it's like a gambling term, you know, that got reused or something. It's really interesting for me to read through these books and see what people used to say to refer to different things. I'm actually really big. I'm gonna reveal how much of a nerd I am to you guys. I'm actually really big into collecting odd dictionaries. So I have a couple dictionaries that are slang dictionaries. I kind of want to see if triple donkey is in it. It's not quite unpacked yet, so I can't look at it. But when I fully unpack it and get my bookshelves all set up. I have to buy a new bookshelf because I have too many books. So it doesn't quite fit on my current bookshelves. My typing is starting to suffer from tiredness. No worries, Zog. I am a nerd. What about? She's educated, point and laugh. What? God forbid a girl have hobbies. Actually pretty nerdy but cool. Yeah, no, I love, like, especially older dictionaries too. Cause, like, let's see. I have a dictionary of phonetics. I have a couple slang dictionaries. I have a dictionary of flags. I have a couple language dictionaries as well. Like English to Spanish, or like I think I also have one. I have one for Korean, and I have one, I believe, for German also, that I inherited from my mom. And then I'm trying to think of what else I have off the top of my head. I feel like I have more, but I'm not sure. I also like studying the evolution of linguistics. Isn't it so fun, Bakarin? Isn't it? English language has changed over the years, sometimes for the worse, but it's an ever-evolving language. But that's why I like collecting these dictionaries. I just find it all so fascinating. You know? Always gotta support the step viewers. I think I have an all book of Irish slang. Oh, wait, I want it. Wait, I want it. I can find my own, don't worry. Dap me up, gang. Alright, I'm gonna take a quick sip of water. And then we're gonna get back into the story. Oh, thank you for the unshrimp, Vigo. Thank you. You think that's pretty interesting? Can't deny at all. Being nerdy is very cool, and that is a neat hobby. Thank you. Yeah. When I was going through middle school, my parents used to tell people how I like genuinely read the dictionary as if it were a book when I was like, I want to say like 7 or something like that. 6 or 7. I thought it was funny. If you go through and like actually read the dictionary, some of the definitions that they put in there are hilarious. Yeah, 6, 7. I'm fixing my gamer stance. As a kid to fall asleep. See, you get it, Bakarin. You get it. Share pics in Discord if I do. Oh, thank you, Sog. Yes. I'll add it to my throne. Alright. You are too sensible a girl, too good a Catholic to believe in dreams. Her hand tightened on mine and her head fell back upon my shoulder, but she still trembled, and I petted her and comforted her. Come, Tess, open your eyes and smile. Her eyes opened with a slow and languid movement and met mine, but their expression was so queer that I hastened to reassure her again. It's all humbug, Tessie. You surely are not afraid that any harm will come to you because of that. No, she said, but her scarlet lips quivered. Then what is the matter? Are you afraid? Yes, not for myself. For me, then, I demanded gaily. For you, she murmured in almost inaudible. I care for you. At first I started to laugh, but then I understood her. A shock passed through me and I sat like one turned to stone. This was the crowning bit of idiocy I had committed. During the moment which elapsed between her reply and my answer, I thought of 1,000 responses to that innocent confession. I could pass it by with a laugh. I could misunderstand her and reassure her as to my health. I could simply point out that it was impossible she could love me. But my reply was quicker than my thoughts, and I might think now that it was too late. For I had kissed her on the mouth? Harlot! How dare you? Unwedded kissing? Scandalous. About different countries I was used to read before bed. Ah, no. Yeah, her honor's been besmirched. Is a highly opposing quality. I agree, Sog, I agree. I was putting chapstick on real quick. I mean, automatically dismissing dreams. I don't know, Sog. I don't know. This man confuses me. Hey there, Reaper. How you doing, baby? Welcome in. I think because it's like a nightmare, he's saying like, hey, like, you're Catholic, you don't have to pay attention to this. This is the devil trying to get to you. We only accept good dreams, you know? That kind of thing, if I had to guess. Did they engage in premarital hand-holding? Worse, Sog, they engaged in premarital kissing. Mouth to mouth. That evening, I took my usual walk in Washington Park. Pondering over the occurrence of the day, I was thoroughly committed. There was no back out now, and I stared the future straight in the face. I was not good, not even scrupulous, but I had no idea of deceiving either myself or Tessie. The one passion of my life lay buried in the sunlit forests of Brittany. Was it buried forever? Hope cried no. For 3 years, I had been listening to the voice of hope, and for 3 years, I had waited for a footstep on my threshold. Had Sylvia forgotten? No, cried Hope. I said that I was not good. That is true. But still, I was not exactly a comic opera villain. I had led an easygoing, reckless life, taking what invited me of pleasure, deploring and sometimes bitterly regretting consequences. In one thing alone, except my painting, was I serious, and that was something which lay hidden, if not lost, in the Breton forests. What world am I living in? Yeah, we'll charge for removing it, exactly. I'm sorry, Marcy. I'm sorry. It was too late for me now to regret what had occurred during the day. Whatever it had been, pity, a sudden tenderness for sorrow, or the more brutal instinct of gratified vanity, was all the same now. And unless I wished to bruise an innocent heart, my path lay marked before me. The fire and strength, the depth of passion of a love which I had never suspected, with all my imagined experience in the world, left me no alternative but to respond or send her away. Whether because I am so cowardly about giving pain to others, or whether it was that I have little of the gloomy Puritan in me, I do not know. But I shrank from disclaiming responsibility for the thoughtless kiss, and in fact had no time to do so before the gates of her heart opened and the flood poured forth. Others who habitually do their duty and find a sullen satisfaction in making themselves and everybody else unhappy might have withstood it. I did not. I dared not. After the storm had abated, I did tell her that she might better have loved Ed Burke and worn a plain gold ring, but she would not hear of it, and I thought perhaps that as long as she had decided to love somebody she could not marry, it had better be me. I, at least, could treat her with an intelligent affection, and whenever she became tired of her infatuation, she could go none the worse for it. For I was decided on that point, although I knew how hard it would be. I remembered the usual termination of platonic liaisons, and thought of how disgusted I had been whenever I heard of one. I knew I was undertaking a great deal for so unscrupulous a man as I was, and I dreaded the future, but never for one moment did I doubt that she was safe with me. Had it been anybody but Tessie, I should not have bothered my head about scruples, for it did not occur to me to sacrifice Tessie as I would have sacrificed a woman of the world. I looked the future squarely in the face and saw the several probable endings to the affair. She would either tire of the whole thing, or become so unhappy that I should have either to marry her or go away. If I married her, we would be unhappy. I with a wife unsuited to me, and she with a husband unsuitable for any woman. Are you gay? For my past life could scarcely entitle me to marry. Oh no, you're traumatized. No, that's the worst. That's the worst option. If I went away, she might either fall ill, recover, and marry some Eddie Burke, or she might recklessly or deliberately go and do something foolish. On the other hand, if she tired of me, then her whole life would be before her with beautiful vistas of Eddie Burkes and marriage rings and twins and Harlem flats. Oh, they're in New York. And heaven knows what. As I strolled along through the trees by the Washington Arch, I decided that she should find a substantial friend in me anyway, and the future could take care of itself. Then I went into the house and put on my evening dress, for the little faintly perfumed note on my dresser said, "Have a cab at the stage door at 11, and the note was signed Edith Carmichael, Metropolitan Theater. Acknowledgement of his flaw. He just like me, for real, for real. I'll be like me and turn to the pole for my dream. I believe in you, Marcy. You're gonna work that pole so well, I just know it. I'm gonna take another quick sip of water. Give them wet food. Make them chonky. Chunky babies deserve treats. I took supper that night. No, Bakrin, no. I took supper that night, or rather, we took supper, Miss Carmichael and I, at Solari's, and the dawn was just beginning to gild the cross in the Memorial Church as I entered Washington Square after leaving Edith at Brunswick. There was not a soul in the park as I passed among the trees and took the walk which leads from the Garibaldi statue to the Hamilton apartment house. But as I passed the courtyard, I saw a figure sitting on the stone steps. In spite of myself, a chill crept over me at the sight of the white, puffy face, and I hastened to pass. Then he said something, which might have been addressed to me, or might merely have been a mutter to himself. But a sudden, furious anger flamed up within me that such a creature should address me. For an instant, I felt like wheeling about and smashing my stick over his head, but I walked on, and entering the Hamilton, went to my apartment. For some time, I tossed about the bed trying to get the sound of his voice out of my ears and could not. It filled my head, that muttering sound, like thick, oily smoke from a fat-rendering vat, or an odor of noisome decay. And as I lay and tossed about, the voice in my ears seemed more distinct, and I began to understand the words he had muttered. They came to me slowly, as if I had forgotten them, and at last I could make some sense of the sounds. It was this: "Have you found the yellow sign? Have you found the yellow sign? Have you found the yellow sign?" I was furious. What did he mean by that? Then, with a curse upon him and his, I rolled over and went to sleep. But when I awoke later, I looked pale and haggard, for I had dreamed the dream of the night before, and it troubled me more than I cared to think. I dressed and went down into my studio. Tessie sat by the window, but as I came in, she rose and put both arms around my neck for an innocent kiss. She looked so sweet and dainty that I kissed her again, and then she sat down before the easel. "Hello. Where's the study I began yesterday?" I asked. Tessie looked conscious but did not answer. I began to hunt among the pile of canvases, saying, "Hurry up, Tess, and get ready. We must take advantage of the morning light." When at last I gave up the search among the other canvases and turned to look around the room for the missing study, I noticed Tessie standing by the screen with her clothes still on. "What's the matter?" I asked. "Don't you feel well?" "Yes." "Then hurry." "Do you want me to pose as I have always posed?" Then I understood. Here was a new complication. I had lost, of course, the best nude model I had ever seen. I looked at Tessie. Her face was scarlet. Alas, alas! We had eaten of the tree of knowledge, and Eden and native innocence were dreams of the past. I mean, for her. What the? This dude, man, really sat there and was like, "It's a shame that she likes me, and now she's embarrassed for that I see her naked. It's not embarrassing for me, though. But not for I mean, for her is crazy." This dude is so unironically self-centered. He doesn't sound like it, but he's so in his own head about this is gonna sound weird, but he makes himself important in his brain by putting himself down. No clear feather, no. He's like, "I'm not good enough for a relationship. I'm not good enough for any woman." Have you considered getting better? I don't know. I'm very interested to see where this is gonna go. JK. I suppose she noticed the disappointment on my face, for she said, "I will pose if you wish. The study is behind the screen here where I put it." "No," I said. "We'll begin something new." And I went into my wardrobe and picked out a Moorish costume which fairly blazed with tinsel. It was a genuine costume, and Tessie retired to the screen with it enchanted. When she came forth again, I was astonished. Her long black hair was bound above her forehead with a circlet of turquoises, and the ends curled about her glittering girdle. Her feet were encased in the embroidered pointed slippers, and the skirt of her costume, curiously wrought with arabesques in silver, fell to her ankles. The deep metallic blue vest embroidered with silver, and the short Moresque jacket spangled and sewn with turquoise became her wonderfully. She came up to me and held up her face, smiling. I slipped my hand into my pocket and, drawing out a gold chain with a cross attached, dropped it over her head. "It's yours, Tessie." "Mine," she faltered. "Yours. Now go and pose." Then, with a radiant smile, she ran behind the screen and presently reappeared with a little box on which was written my name. It'd just be a shocking him a lot. You know what? That's a very, at this point in the, yeah, you're right, bucketing. Doesn't bleed into a narcissistic mindset, right? "I had intended to give it to you when I went home tonight," she said, "but I can't wait now." I opened the box. On the pink cotton inside lay a clasp of black onyx, on which was inlaid a curious symbol or letter in gold. It was neither in Arabic nor Chinese, nor, as I found afterwards, did it belong to any human script. "It's all I had to give you for a keepsake," she said timidly. I was annoyed. "Why are you annoyed?" "Why are you annoyed?" got beef with this dude now. I now have beef with this guy. All he had to do was stand a little firmer in his boundary that he would not be with her. And now look at him, annoyed that she's giving him gifts. Crazy. I was annoyed, but I told her how much I should prize it and promised to wear it always. She fastened it on my coat beneath the lapel. How foolish, Tess, to go and buy me such a beautiful thing as this, I said. I did not buy it, she laughed. Where did you get it? Then she told me how she had found it one day while coming from the aquarium in the Battery. She had advertised it and watched the papers, but at last gave up all hopes of finding the owner. That was last winter, she said. The very day I had the first horrid dream about the hearse. I remembered my dream of the previous night but said nothing, and presently my charcoal was flying over a new canvas, and Tessie stood motionless on the model stand. Let's see, what did I miss? Pride and false humility are two sides of the same coin. You find yourself determined to have people see you as humble, then you aren't as humble as you think you are. Clock it, Zog. Clock it. I thought the driving test was a speed trial the video games taught me. Oh no. Didn't higher score in bicyclist. No. My history of psychology class is holding back a lot of laughter because phrenology is legit like the start of modern psychology. And that dude became rich for just feeling up people's scalps and saying, yes, you got bumps on the front of your scalp, you are a genius. Wait, is that what phrenology is? Like dead ass? I haven't looked too much into it. I've been like getting stuff about it recently. So maybe I'll do a little deep dive on phrenology. The day following was a disastrous one for me. While moving a framed canvas from one easel to another, my foot slipped on the polished floor and I fell heavily on both wrists. They were so badly sprained that it was useless to attempt to hold a brush. Yes, that is really what it is. Thank you, Fenrir. It's the study of skull shapes and the link to intelligence. Oh. I'll keep that in mind. It was useless to attempt to hold a brush, and I was obliged to wander about the studio glaring at unfinished drawing and sketches until despair seized me, and I sat down to smoke and twiddle my thumbs with rage. The rain blew against the windows and rattled on the roof of the church, driving me into a nervous fit with its interminable patter. Tessie sat sewing by the window, and every now and then raised her, oh, thank you for the pats, thank you, Terror Song, and looked at me with such innocent compassion that I began to feel ashamed of my irritation and looked about for something to occupy me. I had read all the papers and all the books in the library, but for the sake of something to do, I went to the bookcases and shoved them open with my elbow. I knew every volume by its color and examined them, all passing slowly around the library and whistling to keep up my spirits. It taught me that when he saw kids grass, he said, bonus round? Oh my god, true, that's crazy. No, you're okay, Terror. Listen, I have the pats there so you guys can pet the doggo, the little fox doggo. Just pet it, pet it. Hi, sir. How you doing? Get cozy with us. We're reading more of The King in Yellow. Yeah, pat the doggo, pat him. I knew every volume by its color and examined them all, passing slowly around the library and whistling to keep up my spirits. I was turning to go into the dining room when my eye fell upon a book bound in serpent skin, standing in a corner of the top shelf of the last bookcase. I did not remember it, and from the floor could not decipher the pale lettering on the back, so I went to the smoking room and called Tessie. She came in from the studio and climbed up to reach the book. "What is it?" I asked. "The King in Yellow." I was dumbfounded. Who had placed it there? How came it in my rooms? I had long ago decided that I should never open that book, and nothing on earth could have persuaded me to buy it. Fearful lest curiosity might tempt me to open it, I had never even looked at it in bookstores. If I ever had had any curiosity to read it, the awful tragedy of young Castaigne, whom I knew, prevented me from exploring its wicked pages. I had always refused to listen to any description of it, and indeed nobody ever ventured to discuss the second part aloud, so I had absolutely no knowledge of what those leaves might reveal. I stared at the poisonous mottled binding as I would at a snake. "Don't touch it, Tessie," I said. "Come down." "I know he said the thing. Of course, my admonition was enough to arouse her curiosity, and before I could prevent it, she took the book, laughing, danced off into the studio with it. I called to her, but she slipped away with a tormenting smile at my helpless hands, and I followed her with some impatience. "Tessie," I cried, entering the library, "listen, I am serious. Put that book away. I do not wish you to open it." The library was empty. I went into both drawing rooms, then into the bedrooms, laundry, kitchen, and finally returned to the library and began a systematic search. She had hidden herself so well that it was half an hour later when I discovered her crouching white and silent by the latticed window in the storeroom above. At the first glance, I saw she had been punished for her foolishness. The King in Yellow lay at her feet, but the book was open at the second part. I looked at Tessie and saw it too late. She had opened The King in Yellow. Then I took her by the hand and led her into the studio. She seemed dazed, and when I told her to lie down on the sofa, she obeyed me without a word. After a while, she closed her eyes and her breathing became regular and deep, but I could not determine whether or not she slept. For a long while, I sat silently beside her, but she neither stirred nor spoke, and at last I rose and entering the unused storeroom, took the book in my least injured hand. It seemed heavy as lead, but I carried it into the studio again, and sitting down on the rug beside the sofa, opened it and read it from beginning to end. You fool! When, faint with the excess of my emotions, I dropped the volume and leaned wearily back against the sofa, Tessie opened her eyes and looked at me. We had been speaking for some time in a dull, monotonous strain before I realized that we were discussing The King in Yellow. Oh, the sin of writing such words, words which are clear as crystal, limpid and musical as bubbling springs, words which sparkle and glow like the poisoned diamonds of the Medicis. Oh, the wickedness, the hopeless damnation of a soul who could fascinate and paralyze human creatures with such words. Words understood by the ignorant and wise alike. Words which are more precious than jewels, more soothing than music, more awful than death. We talked on, unmindful of the gathering shadows, and she was begging me to throw away the clasp of black onyx quaintly inlaid with what we now knew to be the yellow sign. I never shall know why I refused, though even at this hour, here in my bedroom as I write this confession, I should be glad to know what it was that prevented me from tearing the yellow sign from my breast and casting it into the fire. I am sure I wished to do so, and yet Tessie pleaded with me in vain. Night fell and the hours dragged on, but still we murmured to each other of the king and the pallid mask. And midnight sounded from the misty spires in the fog-wrapped city. We spoke of Hastur and of Casilda, while outside the fog rolled against the blank window panes as the cloud waves roll and break on the shores of Holly. The house was very silent now, and not a sound came up from the misty streets. Tessie lay among the cushions, her face a gray blot in the gloom, but her hands were clasped in mine, and I knew that she knew, and read my thoughts as I read hers, for we had understood the mystery of the Hyades, and the phantom of truth was laid. Then as we answered each other swiftly, silently, thought on thought, the shadows stirred in the gloom about us, and far in the distant streets we heard a sound. Nearer and nearer it came, the dull crunching of wheels, nearer and yet nearer, and now outside before the door it ceased, and I dragged myself to the window and saw a black plumed hearse. The gate below opened and shut, and I crept shaking to my door and bolted it, but I knew no bolts, no locks could keep that creature out, who was coming for the yellow sign. And now I heard him moving very softly along the hall. Now he was at the door, and the bolts rotted at his touch. Now he had entered. With eyes staring from my head, I peered into the darkness, but when he came into the room, I did not see him. It was only when I felt him envelop me in his cold, soft grasp that I cried out and struggled with deadly fury. But my hands were useless, and he tore the onyx clasp from my coat and struck me with full force in the face. Then as I fell, I heard Tessie's soft cry, and her spirit fled. And even while falling, I longed to follow her, for I knew that the king in yellow had opened his tattered mantle, and there was only God to cry to now. I could tell more, but I cannot see what help it would be to the world. As for me, I am past human help or hope. As I lie here writing, careless, even whether or not I die before I finish, I can see the doctor gathering up his powders and phials with a vague gesture to the good priest beside me, which I understand. They'll be very curious to know the tragedy, they of the outside world who write books and print millions of newspapers, but I shall write no more, and the Father Confessor will seal my last words with the seal of sanctity when his holy office is done. They of the outside world may send their creatures into wrecked homes and death-smitten firesides, and the newspapers will batten on blood and tears, but with me their spies must halt before the confessional. They know that Tessie is dead, and that I am dying. They know how the people in the house, aroused by an infernal scream, rushed into my room and found one living and two dead, but they do not know what I shall tell them now. They do not know that the doctor had said he pointed to a horrible decomposed heap on the floor, the livid corpse of the watchman from the church. I have no theory, no explanation. That man must have been dead for months. I think I am dying. I wish the priest would. And that's the end of the yellow sign. Damn. Lost his job and his girl. Tisk tisk. No, Anonymous. I don't think we won that round, actually. I think the king in yellow won that round. Oh, here we are. Has the book become his precious? Oh, I mean, maybe. Should I try my hand at French? The demoiselle dit: Mais c'est quoi que j'ai? Suis descendu un puis ténébreux un quart de sorte. Heraclitus extra verite cachée. Always bet on yellow, exactly back green. No money, no bitches, dying alone. Alright. The demoiselle dies. I assume that's how it's supposed to be said. I'm actually not too sure. If anyone knows, please let me know. but you surprisingly said it so fluently. Oh, no, that was French, and I don't think I said it super fluently. Hi, Fend. I spoke French, but not good, I don't think. Can I get a little shout out for Fend, please? How you doing, BB? Yeah, I think what we're about to read, you know, normally I would say is like the English translation. However, this feels very long. There be 3 things which are too powerful for me, yeah? 4 which I know not. The way of an eagle in the air, the way of a serpent upon a rock, the way of a ship in the midst of the sea, and the way of a man with a maid. Ooh, this is gonna be a good chapter. Ooh, the chismosa in me is excited. You did your first art stuff. I guess the Puerto Rican accent helped, I guess. The Puerto Rican French. That's a real thing, isn't it? It was pretty much accurate. Let's go. And I'm glad you had fun doing your art stuff, friend. What did you draw? Or what did you paint? What did you do for it? Thank you for the head pats. Thank you. Thank you, Anonymous. I'm gonna take a quick sip of water. And then we are gonna hop into the Demoiselle Dice. You're Puerto Rican too, Fenrir? Let's go. I am gonna stand real quick. Oh, I gotta get some sleep now. The dreams of lives past call for me. I believe in you, Marcy. You get that good sleep in. You're the quietest Puerto Rican who ever lived. It's only for ASMR, Fenrir, I promise you. Gombure. Welcome in. Oh. I'm just getting a little stretch in real quick. I realized I didn't do my leg stretches today, so I need to do those after stream tonight. I'm like paranoid about becoming one of those like super stiff grandmas, you know? You gotta do those stretches, stay limber. Obviamente es vida, as they say. Yes, Nini Marcy, you sleep very, very well, okay? You get some good rest. The 3 commandments of Serena. Aurora Borealis, snow steppies, and Puerto Rican accents. Oh, thank you. And doodle for your future schedule and 3 comms that I read you. Oh, that's so exciting, Fend. I'm so happy. Alright, let me take that sip of water. Yeah, no, the fact that this ended with them saying that there are 3 things which are too wonderful for me, and the 4th is something that they know not, and it is the way of a man with a maid. Something's gonna go down. I'm so excited. They're just capable of being loud and sassy, I can assure you that. Thank you, Sog. My critical witness. You want the red eyes black dragon? Okay. I have to do it this way. There you go. The utter desolation of the scene began to have its effect. I sat down to face the situation and, if possible, recall to mind some landmark which might aid me in extricating myself from my present position. If I could only find the ocean again, all would be clear, for I knew one could see the island of Groy from the cliffs. Oh, it's from a Bible verse. Wait, Zog, how did you know? What book is it from? That'll help me. I laid down my gun and, kneeling behind a rock, lit a pipe. When I looked at my watch, it was nearly 4 o'clock. I might have wandered far from Kerselek since daybreak. Since the day before on the cliffs below Kerselek with Golvin, looking out over the somber moors among which I had now lost my way. These downs had appeared to me level as a meadow stretching to the horizon, and although I knew how deceptive is distance, I could not realize that what from Kerselek seemed to be mere grassy hollows were great valleys covered with gorse and heather, and what looked like scattered boulders were in reality enormous cliffs of granite. Hi Galactic Wolf, how are you? Welcome in, welcome in. Get cozy with us. We're reading The King in Yellow. Also, high five, yeah, it's story time. You get cozy too, get cozy. Let me check, thank you, Sock. We're reading The Demoiselle Dies. I'm getting EP, so I need to go. Thank you for a cozy. No, of course, Anonymous, please. I'll say it before and I'll say it again, guys. Always take care of yourselves first, okay? You go get your rest. And you sleep very well, Anonymous. Buenas. Good, how about you? I'm also good. I'm really excited to see where this story goes. I've sensed chismosa. Seen a little bit of chisme in our future. It's a bad... Oh, Golvain is a dude. Okay. It is the King in Yellow. TLDR, anyone who encounters knowledge about the King in Yellow goes crazy and dies. And it's like an anthology of different people running into information about him. It's actually really cool. Very eldritch horror. So if that is something that you are interested in, or if you just want a cozy place to sit for the night to go to sleep, feel free to stick around. Or a cozy place to get ready for your morning, because I know sometimes people hop in for their morning routine. It's a bad place for a stranger, old Gavin had said. You better take a guide. And I had replied, I shall not lose myself. Now I knew that I had lost myself. As I had sat there smoking with the sea wind blowing in my face. On every side stretched the moorland, covered with flowering gorse and heath and granite boulders. There was not a tree in sight, much less a house. After a while, I picked up the gun and, turning my back on the sun, tramped on again. It's 5. I'm not going to bed anytime soon. Oh, man, just get cozy, relax from your day with us then, Galactic Wolf. No worries. Public library is way too small. If you ask for a specific book, they can get it shipped in. Trust me. When you request books for your local library, the more likely they are to finally have those books, especially if there's more and more demand for it. And a friend who worked in the library, and that was how they would get books that they wanted to read into the libraries. They would submit formal requests, and they would ask some of their friends to also submit requests to ensure that it would get ordered. But especially if it's a small library, they're more than likely to accommodate for it, since they want people to come to the library. Libraries want people in them. Trust me. Oh, the King James version. I see. Thank you, Sock. Hi, Fish. How are you? Welcome in. Get cozy with us, baby. Only books you have are Star Wars books. Hey, books are books. There's no shame in it being Star Wars. Some of those are really good. As far as I know, a show with a baser instincts, but my face been crucial in getting me through difficult times. Yeah, no, exactly. I browse until something gets my interest. Oh, I see. Been recovering from the sickness. Oh no, you were sick. Wait, no, you told me this. It's coming back to me now. Oh, absolutely. You get all the rest that you need, fish, okay? Feel better. I'm doing okay. I'm gonna take a sip of water again, but I'm doing okay. They're very fragile. Your Star Wars books? I do have the Discord. We are an 18 plus stream and an 18 plus Discord, so just make sure to keep that in mind when joining. Being sick sucks. Yes, it do. Yes, it do. Yeah, as long as you're 18 plus, please, you can do !Discord and join. And then in terms of where to post the pictures, you can put them in media or interest and hobbies or IRL pics, whichever you prefer. I probably won't look at them until after stream though, that's just as a heads up. Alright, let's see. Hi, Lacho. You love the fox. Yeah, no, Loyal War Crime is here to stay with us tonight, guys. Are you excited? He's just a little guy. No, I love Darth Maul. I love that for you. Little War Crimus. I do. If you type !Discord, it should populate with the command. Alright, we have 1 minute, so I'm gonna try to read this paragraph here and then we're gonna yap before the ads start, okay? There was little use in following any of the brawling streams which every now and then crossed my path, for instead of flowing into the sea, they ran inland to reedy pools in the hollows of the moors. I had followed several, but they all led me to swamps or silent little ponds from which the snipe rose peeping and wheeled away in an ecstasy of fright. I began to feel fatigued, and the gun galled my shoulder in spite of the double pads. The sun sank lower and lower, shining level across yellow gorse in the moorland pools. As I walked, my own gigantic shadow led me on, seeming to lengthen at every step. The gorse scraped against my leggings, crackled beneath my feet, showering the brown earth with blossoms, and the brake bowed and billowed along my path. From tufts of heath rabbits scurried away through the bracken, and among the swamp grass I heard the wild duck's drowsy quack. Once a fox stole across my path, and again, as I stopped to drink at a hurrying rill, a heron flapped heavily from the reeds beside me. I turned to look at the sun. It seemed to touch the edges of the plain. When at last I decided that it was useless to go on, and that I must make up my mind to spend at least one night on the moors, I threw myself down thoroughly fagged out. The evening sunlight slanted warm across my body. Hi, Kimmy. Thank you for the lurk. And I love the sci-fi and fantasy genres. They're really good. They're good for a reason. Yeah, !Discord. There you go. How are we liking the stories so far? I know we've only read one, but how are we enjoying it? Is there anything? I wonder if I killed my reading speed by not doing much reading for a year, not gonna lie. Oh, I mean, it's definitely possible. I know some people are just generally slower readers as well, but there are exercises that you can do and like videos that you can watch to speed up your reading speed if that is something that is important to you. You're loving it? Okay. Yeah. And I know sometimes, like for me, I like reading along with people, which is why I put it on the screen here for you guys. You can read it with me. because I got audio processing issues. So this helps me like follow along, and I hope it's helping you guys follow along as well. I recommended the Gears of War books, by the way. Good storytelling. Wait, like the game? Wait, the game has... I didn't know that. I'll have to look into that. Yeah, I didn't know Gears of War had like books. It's an interesting story, and the Panks, the dude Panks is built well. I'm sure the dude's pecs are built very well, Sog, you're so eepy. Oh no. Hi, Walker. Welcome in. I had a stupid problem, so I go for audio. No worries, Shizuo. Miss Hi, Walker. Welcome in. Hello. He's very fluffy. Gave him a bath today, so he's been super floofed. There are books based on the games. Oh, I've never played the games, so that'll be really fun for me. It'll be like fully new information because I don't know anything about Gears of War except Laura Bailey voices in it, and that's it. Looks back when I was a student. Same. Halo has them too. That I did know. I did know Halo has books. If you guys ever want me to read like any books, I know that the Lord of the Rings was requested, but if there are any others, and now also the Gears of War books, if there's any others, please feel free to drop them in the suggestions channel in the Discord. I don't know what it's called, but I jump around reading. Takes me a bit with books. Like I lose my spot. Oh my gosh, same. I lose my spot all the time. I think literally like a bit earlier ago, I lost my spot while I was reading. Gumbure. Welcome in. Thank you for the follow. Get cozy with this. How did I never know? They have a lot of books, Fiverr. You have a lot of catching up to do. A lot of content to read through. You're going to be fed so well. Books focus on the event that led up to the events of Emergence Day, where the locusts attack. Oh, I see. Hi, Chilled Fox. Welcome in. Do you have a sunburn, or were you always this hot? Well, today, I'm not normally this hot, believe it or not. Sometimes I'm a little cool. And then today we do have a special little outfit. That is this one here, because it is the King in Yellow. My King in Yellow outfit, which is just me dyeing my hair blonde. Hi, Shine. Hello, son. Thank you, Galactic Wolf. I'll look at it after stream. Blue is one of your favorite colors. Let's go. I love that for you. Yeah, we have a little bit more time on the Red Eyes Black Dragon, so I'm gonna switch it back. Also, sometimes I'm a grandma. I had to put this between the Mr. and Shine so people don't call me Miss. Yeah, no worries. To the point my English teacher has to confiscate what I was reading. That was me. That was me too. It's a very dude bro, hyper masculine war short stories. Shoot everything, but Gears of War has an interesting military focused society for various reasons. There are various interesting conflicts. Yeah, no, I'll check them out. I'll see if I want to read them on stream, Sock. Alright, we are back from ads. So we're gonna hop back in. You can pet him. There should be the redeem called Pet. To pet A little war crime here. That's interesting lore. I'll look into it. Yee. The evening sunlight slanted warm across my body, but the sea winds began to rise, and I felt a chill strike through me from my wet shooting boots. High overhead gulls were wheeling and tossing like bits of white paper. From some distant marsh, a solitary curlew called. Little by little, the sun sank into the plain, and the zenith flushed with the afterglow. I watched the sky change from palest gold to pink, and then to smoldering fire. Clouds of midges danced above me, and high in the calm air a bat dipped and soared. My eyelids began to droop. Then as I shook off the drowsiness, a sudden crash among the bracken roused me. I raised my eyes. A great bird hung quivering in the air above my face. For an instant I stared, incapable of motion. Then something leaped past me in the ferns, and the bird rose, wheeled, and pitched headlong into the brake. I was on my feet in an instant, peering through the gorse. There came the sound of a struggle from a bunch of heather close by, and then all was quiet. I stepped forward, my gun poised, but when I came to the heather, the gun fell under my arm again, and I stood motionless in silent astonishment. A dead hare lay on the ground, and on the hare stood a magnificent falcon, one talon buried in the creature's neck, and the other planted firmly on its limp flank. Gombore, gombore, welcome in, welcome in. Get cozy with us. But what astonished me was not the mere sight of a falcon setting upon its prey. I had seen that more than once. It was that the falcon was fitted with a sort of leash about both talons, and from the leash hung a round bit of metal like a sleigh bell. The bird turned its fierce yellow eyes on me, and then stooped and struck its curved beak into the quarry. At the same instant, hurried steps sounded among the heather, and a girl sprang into the covert in front. Without a glance at me, she walked up to the falcon, and passing her gloved hand under its breast, raised it from the quarry. Then she deftly slipped a small hood over the bird's head, and holding it out on her gauntlets, stooped and picked up the hare. She passed a cord about the animal's legs and fastened the end of the thong to her girdle. Then she started to retrace her steps through the covert. As she passed me, I raised my cap, and as she acknowledged my presence with a scarcely perceptible inclination, I had been so astonished, so lost in admiration of the scene before my eyes, that it had not occurred to me that there was my salvation. So thank you for the head pats, Berry, and the unshrimp. Oh. Could you guys hear that? That felt loud for me. Oh. I hope you're doing well, Barry. Can you a little shout out for Tearberry, please? It was a loud pop. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That made your spine tingle in a good way, I hope. In a good way, I hope. Let's see, where was I? We were reading a bit of The King in Yellow. It's a spooky eldritch horror book. It's like an anthology series. It's actually really good, Barry. I hope you enjoy it. And then, yeah, she broke her neck away. No, I didn't break my neck. It just needed a little cracking, you know. That it had not occurred to me that here was my salvation. Oh, I think. Let me see. Let me give you a little shout out, Barry, because I think some of my mods may be sleeping now. There you go. What games do I play? I mostly play horror games and Nikkei, and some variety games as well, depending on what I want to play. But besides that, I play some FPS as well. Like, I'll play some Fortnite. I'll play what the kids call friend slop as well, because I like playing games with my friends. Yeah, I think that about covers it. I enjoy a couple roguelikes, stuff like that. I'll play a little bit of anything as long as I'm entertained by it. It's kind of how I see it. Or how I would describe it, rather. Where was I? Oh, where was I? Oh, here it is. I had been so astonished, so lost in admiration of the scene before my eyes, that it had not occurred to me that here was my salvation. But as she moved away, I recollected that unless I wanted to sleep on a windy moor that night, I had better recover my speech without delay. At my first word, she hesitated, and as I stepped before her, I thought a look of fear came into her beautiful eyes. But as I humbly explained my unpleasant plight, her face flushed and she looked at mine in wonder. "Surely you did not come from Kerselec," she repeated. Her sweet voice had no trace of the Breton accent nor any accent which I knew, and yet there was something in it I seemed to have heard before, something quaint and indefinable, like the theme of an old song. I explained that I was an American, unacquainted with Finisterre, shooting there for my own amusement. A poacher. I have not tried the Dark Picture anthology. I'll have to look at it. I don't think I've heard of it before. Hi, Diffusions. Have a fun rest of stream and good night. Of course. You sleep well, Diffusions, okay? Mwah. Sleep well. Hi, Liam. Welcome back. I hope you're doing well, BB. An American, she repeated in the same quaint musical tones. I have never before seen an American. For a moment, she stood silent. Then, looking at me, she said, "If you should walk all night, you cannot reach Kerselec now, even if you had a guide. Have a good night, Wraith. Sleep well, sleep well. Hello, Barry." I hope you're doing amazing, BB. This was pleasant news. But, I began, if I could only find a peasant's hut where I might get something to eat and shelter. The falcon on her wrist fluttered and shook its head. The girl smoothed its glossy back and glanced at me. "Look around," she said gently. "Can you see the end of these moors? Look north, south, east, west. Can you see anything but moorland and bracken?" "No," I said. "The moor is wild and desolate. It is easier to enter, but sometimes they who enter never leave it. There are no peasants' huts here." "Well," I said. Also, thank you for the follow, Galactic Wolf. Thank you. If you tell me in which direction Kerselec lies, tomorrow it will take me no longer to go back than it has to come. She looked at me again with an expression almost like pity. "Ah, she said. To come is easy and takes hours. To go is different and may take centuries. I stared at her in amazement, but decided that I had misunderstood her. Then before I had time to speak, she drew a whistle from her belt and sounded it. Sit down and rest, she said to me. You have come a long distance and are tired. She gathered up her pleated skirts and, motioning for me to follow, picked her dainty way through the gorse to a flat rock among the ferns. They will be here directly, she said, and taking a seat at one end of the rock, invited me to sit down on the other edge. The afterglow was beginning to fade in the sky, and a single star twinkled faintly through the rosy haze. A long wavering triangle of waterfowl drifted southward over our heads, and from the swamps around plover were calling. They are very beautiful, these moors, she said quietly. Beautiful, but cruel to strangers, I answered. Beautiful and cruel, she repeated dreamily. Beautiful and cruel. Like a woman, I said stupidly. Oh, this dude's gonna get fucked over. He was doomed from the beginning, but still. There's gonna be a beautiful woman who's gonna come out of the moors, and he's gonna be like, oh, pretty lady. And then she's gonna eat him. I'm excited. I'd have to restart the rain audio, so it may sound a little off for a second, just as a heads up. Oh my gosh, no, not like this. There we go. There's a couple you've been trying to hunt down for a long time. Oh, a couple books? I picked out the start of the semester and Lisa, I haven't touched it after I finished it. Yay, scary night, scary night. If it's fine if I do the project on the book I was reading at the time instead. Hey, as long as your teacher was cool with it, I'm glad. Oh, like a woman, I said stupidly. Oh, she cried with a little catch in her breath and looked at me. Her dark eyes met mine, and I thought she seemed angry or frightened. Like a woman, she repeated under her breath. How cruel to say so. Then after a pause, as though speaking aloud to herself, how cruel for him to say that. I don't know what sort of an apology I offered for my inane, though harmless speech, but I know that she seemed so troubled about it that I began to think I had said something very dreadful without knowing it, and remembered with horror the pitfalls and snares which the French language sets for foreigners. While I was trying to imagine what I might have said, a sound of voices came across the moor and the girl rose to her feet. No, she said with a trace of smile on her pale face. I will not accept your apology, monsieur, but I must prove you wrong, and that shall be my revenge. Look. Here come Hastur and Raoul. Guys, one of the dudes' name is Hastur. I'm not saying he's already fucked, but he might be a little bit. Also, thank you for the hydrate. I really appreciate it. The two men loomed up in the twilight. Oh, I'll do it now. I got distracted by the book. A little fucked. Exactly, Yura. Exactly. Okay. The two men loomed up in the twilight. One had a sack across his shoulders and the other carried a hoop before him. Hi, Riri. I just changed it. I'll change it back. Here you go. How you doing, Riri? I'm trying to find the title of a couple books I read in high school. I only remember a vague plot synopsis of them. This is not going to be helpful, but I remember there was a website where you could type in vague synopses of books, and it would populate like 5 books at a time that kind of like fit into it. So maybe we can find that site for you. Maybe you can look for it. It should help you. Hi, beautiful. Hello. Hello, beautiful. I'm just fixing my stance, so I had to lose my tracking for a second. Yeah, but we don't use AI here. Fuck AI. One had a sack across his shoulders and the other carried a hoop before him as a waiter carries a tray. The hoop was fastened with straps to his shoulders, and around the edges of the circlet sat 3 hooded falcons fitted with tinkling bells. Posture check? I'm good, don't worry, I just did one a little bit ago. The girl stepped up to the falconer and with a quick turn of her wrist transferred her falcon to the hoop, where it quickly sidled off and nestled among its mates, who shook their hooded heads and ruffled their feathers till the belly jesses tinkled again. Thank you for the head pats. And the big stretch with little to no success. Oh, that's so weird. Have you checked your library? Librarians know a bunch of weird shit, dude. They might know. Thank you. Oh, where was I? Quickly sidled off and nestled among its mates and shook their hooded heads and ruffled their feathers till the belly jesses tinkled again. The other man stepped forward and bowing respectfully took up the hair and dropped it into the game sack. These are my picures, said the girl, turning to me with a gentle dignity. Raoul is a good falconer, and I shall someday make him Grand Veneur. Hastur is incomparable. The 2 silent men saluted me respectfully. Did I not tell you, monsieur, that I should prove you wrong? She continued. This then is my revenge, that you do me the courtesy of accepting food and shelter at my own house. Yeah, they might have it. Before I could answer, she spoke to the falconeers, who started instantly across the heath, and with a gracious gesture to me, she followed. I don't know whether I made her understand how profoundly grateful I felt, but she seemed pleased to listen as we walked over the dewy heather. Are you not very tired? She asked. I had clearly forgotten my fatigue in her presence, and I told her so. Don't you think your gallantry is a little old-fashioned? She said. And when I looked confused and humbled, she added quietly, Oh, I like it. I like everything old-fashioned, and it is delightful to hear you say such pretty things. The moorland around us was still now under its ghostly sheet of mist. The plover had ceased their calling. The crickets and all the little creatures of the fields were silent as we passed, yet it seemed to me as if I could hear them beginning again far behind us. Well in advance, the 2 falconers strode across the heather, and the faint jingling of the hawk's bells came to our ears in distant murmuring chimes. Suddenly, a splendid hound dashed out of the mist in front, followed by another and another, until 6 or more were bounding and leaping around the girl behind me. Beside me, I mean. She caressed and quieted them with her gloved hands, speaking to them in quaint terms, which I remembered to have seen in old French manuscripts. Then the falcons on the circlet borne by the falconer ahead began to beat their wings and scream, and from somewhere out of sight the notes of a hunting horn floated across the moor. The hounds sprang away before us and vanished into the twilight. The falcons flapped and squealed upon their perch, and the girl taking up the song on the horn began to hum. Clear and mellow, her voice sounded in the night air. Oh God, it's in French. I'm gonna do my best. Chasseuse encore, tes recettes et je n'étends. Tonton, tonton, tontain, tonton. Au pour rabattre des l'aurore. Que les amours soient des plantons. Tonton, tonton, tonton. Thank you for the lyric, Angry Irish. Welcome in. Thank you, Sarg. I'll look at them after stream. Been browsing for a few days at Ask the Librarian, and they would always have something that piqued my interest. No, exactly. As I listened to her lovely voice, a gray mass which rapidly grew more distinct loomed up in front, and the horn rang out joyously through the tumult of the hounds and falcons. A torch glimmered at a gate. A light streamed through an opening door, and we stepped upon a wooden bridge which trembled under our feet and rose creaking and straining behind us as we passed over the moat and into a small stone court, walled on every side. From an open doorway a man came, and bending in salutation, presented a cup to the girl beside me. She took the cup and touched it with her lips, then lowering it turned to me and said in a low voice, "I bid you welcome." Not sure if it's accurate, but the way you speak French is pretty. Thank you. I don't think it's very accurate, but I'm glad it sounds pretty. At that moment, one of the falconers came with another cup, but before handing it to me, presented it to the girl who tasted it. The falconer made a gesture to receive it, but she hesitated a moment, and then stepping forward, offered me the cup with her own hands. I felt this to be an act of extraordinary graciousness, but hardly knew what was expected of me, and did not raise it to my lips at once. The girl flushed crimson. I saw that I must act quickly. "Mademoiselle," I faltered, "a stranger whom you may have saved from dangers he may never realize, empties this cup to the gentlest and loveliest hostess of France." "In his name," she murmured, crossing herself as I drained the cup. Then stepping into the doorway, she turned to me with a pretty gesture, and taking my hand in hers, led me into the house, saying again and again, "You are very welcome indeed. You are welcome to the Chateau d'Ise. You are very welcome indeed. You are welcome to the Chateau d'Ise." So I start, no worries. No, don't do it. I awoke next morning with the music of the horn in my ears, and leaping out of the ancient bed, went to a curtained window where the sunlight filtered through little deep-set panes. The horn ceased as I looked into the court below. I appreciate it, Sniper. Yeah, we do have an English. We try to keep the chat English only so everyone can read. And it makes it a little easier to moderate as well, since not all of my mods speak multiple languages. I awoke next morning with the music of the horn in my ears, and leaping out of the ancient bed, went to a curtained window where the sunlight filtered through little deep-set panes. The horn ceased as I looked into the court below. A man who might have been brother to the two falconers of the night before stood in the midst of a pack of hounds. A curved horn was strapped over his back, and in his hand he held a long, lashed whip. The dogs whined and yelped, dancing around him in anticipation. There was the stamp of horses too in the walled yard. "Mount," cried a voice in Breton, and with a clatter of hooves and 2 falconers, with falcons upon their wrists, rode into the courtyard among the hounds. And I heard another voice which sent the blood throbbing through my heart. Perrault Louis, hunt the hounds well, and spare neither spur nor whip. Thou Raoul and thou Gaston, set the epervier does not prove himself nice, and if it be best in your judgment, faites toi à l'assaut, hardenez un oiseau. Like the muet there on Hastur's wrist is not difficult, but thou, Raoul, mayest not find it so simple to govern that Hecagard. Twice last week he foamed au vif, and lost the Bacard, although he is used to the Leue. The bird acts like a stupid branchier. Prêter un regard n'est pas si facile. I have no idea if I said any of that correctly. Was I dreaming? The old language of falconry which I had read in yellow manuscripts, the old forgotten French of the Middle Ages, was sounding in my ears while the hounds bayed and the hawk's bells tinkled accompaniment to the stamping horses. She spoke again in the sweet, forgotten language. If you would rather touch the langue and leave the haggard à bloc, Raoul, I shall say nothing, for it were a pity to spoil so fair a day's sport with an ill-trained source. Et se me abaisser, it is possibly the best way, car lui donnera des reins. I was perhaps hasty with the bird. It takes time to pass à la filière, and the exercise is d'escape. Then the falconer Raoul bowed in his stirrups and replied, If it be the pleasure of Mademoiselle, I shall keep the hawk. It is my wish, she answered. Falconry I know, but you have yet to give me many a lesson in Antoiserie, my poor Raoul. C'est pure Louis Mon. What the fuck are they saying? The huntsman sprang into an archway and in an instant returned, mounted upon a strong black horse, followed by a fakir also mounted. Ah, she cried joyously. Speed, Glimmerec Rene, speed, speed all. Sound thy horn, Sir Pirot. The silvery music of the hunting horn filled the courtyard. The hounds sprang through the gateway and galloping hoofbeats plunged out the paved court, loud on the drawbridge, suddenly muffled, then lost in the heather and bracken of the moors. Distant and more distant sounded the horn until it became so faint that the sudden carol of a soaring lark drowned it in my ears. I heard the voice below responding to some call from within the house. Hi, Ravenblood, welcome in. Yeah, pardon my French. Exactly. I do not regret the chase. I will go another time. Courtesy to the stranger, Pelagie, remember? And a feeble voice came quavering from within the house. Courtoisie. I stripped and rubbed myself from head to foot in the huge earthen basin of icy water which stood upon the stone floor at the foot of my bed. Then I looked about for my clothes. They were gone, but on a settle near the door lay a heap of garments which I inspected with astonishment. As my clothes had vanished, I was compelled to attire myself in the costume which had evidently been placed there for me to wear while my own clothes dried. Everything was there. Cap, shoes, and hunting doublé of silvery grey homespun, but the close-fitting costume and seamless shoes belonged to another century, and I remembered the strange costumes of the 3 falconers in the courtyard. I was sure that it was not the modern dress of any portion of France or Brittany, but not until I was dressed and stood before a mirror between the windows did I realize that I was clothed much more like a young huntsman of the Middle Ages than like a Breton of the day. I hesitated and picked up the cap. Should I go down and present myself in that strange guise? There seemed to be no help for it. My own clothes were gone, and there was no bell in the ancient chamber to call a servant, so I contented myself with removing a short hawk's feather from the cap and opening the door, went downstairs. Alright, I'm gonna do the hydrate now, thank you. Renee born or born again? Oh. My theory is that she's like low-key, high-key, gonna basically keep him as some kind of pet, along with all the other men that have wandered into the moors. That's gonna be my guess. Water, dude. I'm drinking water. Mostly because I ran out of tea. I just about nodded off twice. Good. That's the goal. That is the goal, Buckarine. That is the goal. Yeah, I normally drink tea. I have tea and water with me for every stream. It's like a little ritual by this point. I promise you that definitely wasn't me because I don't drink Red Bull. I have a bad heart. I can't drink Red Bull. It'll give me heart palpitations. So, I'll know who that was, but it wasn't me. Just a hot cinnamon sunset tea from Harney and Sons. It's a very good tea. Oh, where was I? In green tea. Oh, I love green tea. I fuck so heavy with it. By the fireplace in the large room at the foot of the stairs, an old Breton woman sat spinning with a distaff. She looked up at me when I appeared, and smiling frankly, wished me health in the Breton language, to which I laughingly replied in French. At the same moment, my hostess appeared and returned my salutation with a grace and dignity that sent a thrill to my heart. Her lovely head with its dark curly hair was crowned with a headdress, which set all doubts as to the epoch of my own costume at rest. Her slender figure was exquisitely set off in the homespun hunting gown edged with silver, and on her gauntlet-covered wrist she bore one of her petted hawks. Ooh, homemade honey lemon tea. That's gotta be so tasty. Earl Grey. I like lemon and Earl Grey cookies. Those are really good. Then she asked me in her soft, quaint accent how I had passed the night, and whether I was very much inconvenienced by wearing the clothes which old Pelagi had put there for me while I slept. I looked at my own clothes and shoes drying in the sun by the garden wall and hated them. What horrors they were compared with the graceful costume which I now wore. I had told her this laughing, but she agreed with me very seriously. "We will throw them away," she said, in a quiet voice. In my astonishment, I attempted to explain that I could not only not think of accepting clothes from anybody, although for all I knew it might be the custom of hospitality in that part of the country, but that I should cut an impossible figure if I returned to France clothed as I was then. She laughed and tossed her pretty head, saying something in old French which I did not understand, and then Pelagi trotted out with a tray on which stood 2 bowls of milk, a loaf of white bread, fruit, a platter of honeycomb, and a flagon of deep red wine. "You see, I have not yet broken my fast because I wished you to eat with me, but I am very hungry," she smiled. "I would rather die than forget one word of what you have said," I blurted out while my cheeks burned. "She will think me mad," I added to myself, but she turned to me with sparkling eyes. "Ah," she muttered, "the monsieur knows all that there is of chivalry." She crossed herself and broke bread, and I sat and watched her white hands, not daring to raise my eyes to hers. "Will you not eat?" she asked. "Why do you look so troubled?" Ah, why? I knew it now. I knew I would give my life to touch with my lips those rosy palms. I understood now that from the moment when I looked into her dark eyes. There on the moor last night I had loved her. My great and sudden passion held me speechless. "Are you ill at ease?" she asked again. Then, like a man who pronounces his own doom, I answered in a low voice. "Yes, I am ill at ease for love of you. My guy, you just met her. You just met her." Knows a gal for one night and is like, "Oh, I'm ill at ease with my love for you." My Bessie and a Tessie. You just met her. Also, thank you for the hydrate. I'll do it in a little bit because I did just drink water. You just like me for real, for real. Listen, Clearfeather, by this point, I'm just gonna believe you. I'm just gonna believe you. To get lured into a metaphorical den of lions, I feel like he's already in one bakarin. Just a little bit. Thank you for the big stretch. I'm just gonna put out a preemptive warning. Don't redeem them like too frequently, just cause like I don't need to stretch like every like 5 or 10 minutes. I don't mind it though, but yeah. Just not too much, otherwise I'll have to put a cool down on them. Where was I? I'm ill at ease at my love for you. And as she did not stir nor answer, the same power moved my lips in spite of me, and I said, "I who am unworthy of the lightest of your thoughts, I who abuse hospitality and replay your gentle courtesy with bold presumption, I love you." Are we dead ass right now? Man experiences one kindness. I love you. This is crazy. Oh no, she's also crazy. She leaned her head upon her hands and softly answered, "I love you. Your words are very dear to me. I love you." "Then I shall win you." "Win me?" she replied. Wait, has anyone ever seen A Knight's Tale with Heath Ledger? And oh god, there's so many famous people in that movie. But there's like a scene in it where the main female character, and she is trying to like get him to flirt with her, and he's like, I will win the tournament for you. And she was like, "You'll win the tournament for me?" And he was like, "Yes." She was like, "Many men have pledged to win tournaments for me. Lose one for me." And he was like, "What?" And she was like, "Lose the tournament for me, and in that you will prove your love to me." And he's like, "Why would I ever lose to win you?" And she's like, "I'm not a prize to be won to begin with. So if you love me, lose the tournament. Prove your devotion to the one that you say that you love." And like this is that or the other. And they're like in a church, and it's like all really funny because she's like yelling at this dude. And he's like yelling at her too, and then this priest comes up and like shushes her, and she's like, do not shush me when we are both yelling. Why do you only shush me and not him? Go, be gone with you. I love A Knight's Tale. We should watch it for movie night. We're gonna do it this week. We're gonna do a double feature. We're gonna watch Rocky Horror Picture Show, because I promised that last week. And then we're also gonna watch A Knight's Tale. I'll see you Sunday. Like always, and see you next time. Absolutely. Thank you for lurking, Ocean. I really appreciate it. You sleep well, baby. I mean, that's what this whole exchange reminds me of, where he's like, okay, I will win you. Just like, win me. But all the time I had been sitting silently, my face turned toward her. She, also silent, her sweet face resting on her upturned palm, sat facing me. And as, oh wait, I got something for that. Her upturned palm sat facing me, and as her eyes looked into mine, I knew that neither she nor I had spoken human speech, but I knew that her soul had answered mine, and I drew myself up feeling youth and joyous love coursing through every vein. She, with a bright color in her lovely face, seemed as one awakened from a dream, and her eyes sought mine with a questioning glance which made me tremble with delight. We broke our fast, speaking of ourselves. I told her my name, and she told me hers, Mademoiselle Jeanne d'Aise. She spoke of her father and mother's death, and how the 19 of her years had been passed in the little fortified farm alone with her nurse Pelagie, Glemarec René, the Picure, and the 4 falconers Raoul, Gaston, Hastur, and the Sieur Perrault Louis, who had served her father. She had never been outside the moorland, never even had seen a human soul, except the falconers and Pelagie. There we go. Dying for someone is easy. It's what people always say when they can't live for someone, because living for someone is hard. It's long and grueling and ugly. Yeah, that sounds familiar. I don't know what it's from either, though. But I feel like I have heard that before. Black green. She had never been outside the moorland, never even had seen a human soul before except the falconers and Pelagie. She did not know how she had heard of Kerselec. Perhaps the falconers had spoken of it. She knew the legends of Luc Garot and Jean La Flamme from her nurse Pelagie. She embroidered and spun flax. Her hawks and hounds were her only distraction. When she had met me there on the moor, she had been so frightened that she almost dropped at the sound of my voice. She had, it was true, seen ships at sea from the cliffs, but as far as the eye could reach, the moors over which she galloped were destitute of any sign of human life. There was a legend which old Pelagie told how anybody once lost in the unexplored moorland might never return, because the moors were enchanted. She did not know whether it was true. She never had thought about it until she met me. She did not know whether the falconers had even been outside or whether they could go if they would. The books in the house which Pelagie, the nurse, had taught her to read were hundreds of years old. All this she told me with a sweet serious seldom seen in anyone but children. My own name found easy to pronounce and insisted because my first name was Philip. I must have French blood in me. She did not seem curious to learn anything about the outside world, and I thought perhaps she considered it had forfeited her interest and respect from the stories of her nurse. We were sitting at the table, and she was throwing grapes to the small field birds, which came fearlessly to our very feet. Alright, and it looks like ads have started, so we're gonna yap for a little bit. Alright guys, take bets. How do you think this poor unfortunate soul is gonna meet his end? I'm still thinking he's gonna get like absolutely ruined by this girl, and not in like a good way, but in like a he's not gonna be himself way, you know? That's my guess. Hi, Solid. Welcome in, welcome in. I hope you're doing well, BB. We're reading a little bit more of The King in Yellow. I think this guy's gonna get... Like, I don't know how to say it, but I think there's some kind of spell in the food, maybe, because it just doesn't make sense to me that, like, he would go to this girl's house that he just met and be like, I love you. Like, there has to be something, like some kind of glamour, ritual sacrifice. That's a good one. Getting thrown in the dungeon and turned into a fish man. He sets his alarms go off. I'm in my bed. It was all a dream. And he hears his mother yelling at him to get ready for school. That's my nightmare, dude. I remember seeing something a while ago that was like, imagine you make it all the way to 50, maybe even like 80, like you're old, and then you wake up in bed back in high school. And I was like, no thank you, I did it once already. I don't need to do it again. I'm set, actually, you know, like I'm good. That's the way that I see it, though. Alright, I will do the hydrate now. I'm hydrating. Welcome back, my lovely snickies. Yes, welcome back, welcome back. Ugh. Getting back into my gamer stance. Okay. I began to speak in a vague way of going, but she would not hear of it, and before I knew it, I had promised to stay a week in a hunt with hawk and hound in their company. I also obtained permission to come again from Kerselak and visit her after my return. Why, she said innocently, I do not know what I should do if you never came back. And I, knowing that I had no right to awaken her with the sudden shock with the avowal of my own love would bring to her, sat silent, hardly daring to breathe. You will come very often? She asked. Very often, I said. Every day? Every day. Oh, she sighed. I'm very happy. Come and see my hawks. She rose and took my hand again with a childlike innocence of possession. We walked through the garden and fruit trees to a grassy lawn which was bordered by a brook. Over the lawn were scattered 15 or 20 stumps of trees, partially embedded in the grass. And upon all of these except 2 sat falcons. They were attached to the stumps by thongs which were in turn fastened with steel rivets to their legs just above the talons. A little stream of pure spring water flowed in a winding course within easy distance of each perch. The birds set up a clamor when the girl appeared, but she went from one to another, caressing some, taking others for an instant upon her wrist, or stooping to adjust their jesses. Are they not pretty? She said. See, here is a falcon genteel. We call it ignoble because it takes the quarry in direct chase. This is a blue falcon. In falconry we call it noble because it rises over the quarry and welling, drops upon it from above. This white bird is a gerfalcon from the north. It is also noble. He is a merlin, and this tiercelet is a falcon heroner. I asked her how she had learned the old language of falconry. She did not remember, but thought her father must have taught it to her when she was very young. Then she led me away and showed me the young falcons still in the nest. They are termed Nias? I'll figure it out one day. In falconry, she explained, a branchier is the young bird which is just able to leave the nest and hop from branch to branch. A young bird which has not yet molted is called a source, and a muet is a hawk which has molted in captivity. When we catch a wild falcon which has changed its plumage, we term it a haggard. Raoul first taught me to dress a falcon. Shall I teach you how it's done? She seated herself on the bank of the stream among the falcons, and I threw myself at her feet to listen. Then the demoiselle Deise held up one rosy-tipped finger and began very gravely. First one must catch the falcon. I am caught, I answered. She laughed prettily and told me my dressage would perhaps be difficult as I was noble. I am already tamed, I replied, dressed and belled. She laughed delighted. Oh, my brave falcon, then you will return at my call? I am yours, I answered gravely. I feel like I'm intruding on a moment here. Like if I was there IRL, I would just slowly shut the door behind me. I'd be like, you know what? They're doing something. Let me not interrupt. I am yours, I answered gravely. She sat silent for a moment. Then the color heightened in her cheeks and she held up her finger again, saying, Listen, I wish to speak of falconry. I listen, Countess Jean Deise. But again she fell into the reverie and her eyes seemed fixed on something beyond the summer clouds. Philip, she said at last. Jean, I whispered. That is all. That is what I wished, she sighed. Philip and Jean. It's pronounced Nier. Oh, Nier. Nier. She held her hand towards me and I touched it with my lips. Win me, she said, but this time it was the body and soul which spoke in unison. After a while, she began again. Let us speak of falconry. Begin, I replied. We have caught the falcon. Then Jean Deise took my hand in both of hers and told me how with infinite patience the young falcon was taught to perch upon the wrist, how little by little it became used to the bell jesses and the chaperon, a cornet. Nyarlathotep coded. Low key though, yes. They must first have a good appetite, she said. Then little by little I reduced their nourishment, which in falconry we call pat. When after many nights passed au bloc, as these birds are now, I prevail upon the haggard to stay quiet on the wrist. Then the bird is ready to be taught to come for its food. I fix the pat at the end of a thong and leurre, and teach the bird to come to me as soon as I begin to whirl the cord in circles about my head. At first I drop the pat when the falcon comes, and he eats the food on the ground. After a little he will learn to seize the leurre in motion as I whirl it around my head or drag it over the ground. After this it is easy to teach a falcon to strike at game, always remembering to faire courtois à l'oiseau. L'oiseau. That is, to allow the bird to taste the quarry. A squeal from one of the falcons interrupted her, and she arose to adjust the long which had become whipped about the block. But the bird still flapped its wings and screamed. What is the matter? She said. Philip, can you see? I looked around and at first saw nothing to cause the commotion, which was now heightened by the screams and flapping of all the birds. Then my eye fell upon the flat rock beside the stream from which the girl had risen. A gray serpent was moving slowly across the surface of the boulder, and the eyes in its flat triangular head sparkled like jet. A couleuvre, she said quietly. It is harmless, is it not? I asked. She pointed to the black V-shaped figure on the neck. It is certain death, she said. It is a viper. We watched the reptile moving slowly over the smooth rock to where the sunlight fell in a broad, warm patch. I started forward to examine it, but she clung to my arm, crying, "Don't, Philip, I am afraid." For me? For you, Philip. I love you. Then I took her in my arms and kissed her on the lips, but all I could say was, "Jean, Jean, Jean." And as she lay trembling on my breast, something struck my foot in the grass below, but I did not heed it. He got bit. She was bait. She was bait the whole time. Beans. But I did not heed it. Then again, something struck my ankle and a sharp pain shot through me. I looked into the sweet face of Jean Deis and kissed her, and with all my strength lifted her in my arms and flung her from me. Then bending, I tore the viper from my ankle and set my heel upon its head. I remember feeling weak and numb. I remember falling to the ground. Through my slowly gazing eyes, I saw Jean's white face bending close to mine. When the light in my eyes went out, I still felt her arms about my neck, and her soft cheek against my drawn lips. When I opened my eyes, I looked around in terror. John was gone. I saw the stream and the flat rock. I saw the crushed viper in the grass beside me, but the hawks and blocks had disappeared. I sprang to my feet. The garden, the fruit trees, the drawbridge, and the walled court were gone. I stared stupidly at a heap of crumbling ruins, ivy-covered and gray, through which great trees had pushed their way. I crept forward, dragging my numbed foot, and as I moved, a falcon sailed from the treetops among the ruins, and soaring, mounting in narrowing circles, faded and vanished in the clouds above. Have a good night, Sino. Give me a little shout out for Sino, please. How you doing, baby? Yes, you get some sleep. John, I cried. But my voice died on my lips, and I fell on my knees among the weeds. And as God willed it, I, not knowing, had fallen kneeling before a crumbling shrine carved in stone of our Mother of Sorrows. I saw the sad face of the Virgin wrought in the cold stone. I saw the cross and thorns at her feet, and beneath it I read, "Pray for the soul of the Demoiselle Jean Deis, who died in her youth for love of Philip, a stranger. A.D. 1573. But upon the icy slab lay a woman's glove, still warm and fragrant. Getting cozy to Cosmic Core, getting cozy to Cosmic Core. Wait, what? Wait, that's how it ends? I don't think I understand this one. It's trippy. I mean, obviously, like, it's her. But how? Yeah, it's cozy. I didn't sleep. Overactive mind here. No worries. No worries, Doc. I think we're gonna read one more story and then call it a night, okay, guys? I have a very long day of meetings tomorrow. so I don't want to stay up too late. But I want to make sure that we get a little bit more cozy time together, okay? Alrighty. The Prophet's Paradise. If but the vine and love of journeying band are in the Prophet's paradise to stand, alack, I doubt the Prophet's paradise were empty as the hollow of one's hand. Hi, Red Pyramid. Welcome in. Gumbare, gumbare. Welcome in. I'm gonna take a little sip of water real quick. I hope you're doing well tonight. We're just starting the next story in The King in Yellow, actually. Reading The Prophet's Paradise. Get cozy. He smiled, saying, "Seek her throughout the world." I said, "Why tell me of the world? My world is here, between these halls and the sheets of glass above. Here among gilded flagons and dull-jeweled arms, tarnished frames and canvases, black chests and high-backed chairs, quaintly carved and stained in blue and gold." "For whom do you wait?" he said. And I answered, "When she comes, I shall know her." On my hearth a tongue of flame whispered secrets to the whitening ashes. In the street below I heard the footsteps, a voice and a song. "For whom then do you wait?" he said. And I answered, "I shall know her." Footsteps, a voice and a song in the street below, and I knew the song but neither the steps nor the voice. "Fool," he cried. "The song is the same, the voice and steps have but changed with years." On the hearth a tongue of flame whispered above the whitening ashes, "Wait no more, they have passed, the steps and the voice in the street below." Then he smiled, saying, "For whom do you wait? Seek her throughout the world." I answered, "My world is here, between these walls and the sheets of glass above, here among gilded flagons and dull-jeweled arms, tarnished frames and canvases, black chests and high-backed chairs, quaintly carved and stained in blue and gold." Wait, that's it? Oh, okay, wait, hold on. This seems like a series of things. Okay, we'll go through whatever this series of things that's here. The Phantom. The phantom of the past would go no further. "If it is true," she sighed, "that you find in me a friend, let us turn back together. You will forget here under the summer sky." I held her close, pleading, caressing. I seized her, white with anger, but she resisted. "If it is true," she sighed, "then you find in me a friend, let us turn back together." The phantom of the past would go no further. The Sacrifice. I went into a field of flowers, whose petals are whiter than snow and whose hearts are pure gold. Far afield a woman cried, "I have killed him I loved." And from a jar she poured blood upon the flowers whose petals are whiter than snow and whose hearts are pure gold. Far afield I followed, and on the jar I read 1,000 names, while from within the fresh blood bubbled the brim. "I have killed him I loved," she cried. "The world's athirst, now let it drink." She passed, and far afield I watched her pouring blood upon the flowers whose petals are whiter than snow and whose hearts are pure gold. This is getting weird. Hi, Leo. Also, thank you for the hydrate red. I'll do it. I'll do it now. Thank you. Destiny. I came to the bridge which few may pass. Pass, cried the keeper, but I laughed, saying, there is time. And he smiled and shut the gates. To the bridge which few may pass came young and old. All were refused. Idly I stood and counted them until, weary of their noise and lamentations, I came again to the bridge which few may pass. Those in the throng about the gate shrieked out, he comes too late. But I laughed, saying, there is time. Pass, cried the keeper, as I entered, then smiled and shut the gates. The throng. Okay. The throng. There where the throng was thickest in the street, I stood with Pierrot. All eyes were turned on me. What are they laughing at? I asked. But he grinned, dusting the chalk from my black cloak. I cannot see. It must be something droll, perhaps an honest thief. All eyes were turned on me. He has robbed you of your purse, they laughed. My purse, I cried. Pierrot, help. It is a thief, they laughed. He has robbed you of your purse. Then Truth stepped out, holding a mirror. If he is an honest thief, cried Truth, Pierrot shall find him with this mirror. But he only grinned, dusting the chalk from my black cloak. You see, he said, Truth is an honest thief. She brings you back your mirror. All eyes turned on me. Arrest Truth, I cried, forgetting it was not a mirror, but a purse I lost, standing with Pierrot there where the throng was thickest in the street. Oh, so now we're getting into a little bit of commentary. Crazy. Ooh, the jester. Was she fair? I asked. But he only chuckled, listening to the bells jingling on his cap. Stabbed, he tittered. Think of the long journey, the days of peril, the dreadful nights. Think how he wandered for her sake, year after year, through hostile lands, yearning for kith and kin, yearning for her. Stabbed, he tittered, listening to the bells jingling on his cap. Was she fair? I asked, but he only snarled, muttering to the bells jingling on his cap. She kissed him at the gate, he tittered, but in the hall his brother's welcome touched his heart. Was she fair? I asked. Stabbed, he chuckled. Think of the long journey, the days of peril, the dreadful nights. Think how he wandered for her sake year after year, through hostile lands, yearning for kith and kin, yearning for her. She kissed him at the gate, but in the hall his brother's welcome touched his heart. Was she fair? I asked, but only snarled, listening to the bells jingling in his cap. Ooh. Oh, Leo, thank you for the 15 stream streak. I appreciate you, BB. Thank you so much. It really means a lot to me. Excuse me. The green room. The clown turned his powdered face to the mirror. If to be fair is to be beautiful, he said, who could compare with me in my white mask? Who can compare with him in his white mask? I asked of Death beside me. Who can compare with me? Said Death, for I am paler still. You are very beautiful, said the clown, turning his powdered face to the mirror. Oh my god. If I was an English teacher, I would be going nuts. nuts with these. The way I could just sit here and dissect the heck out of them. So thank you for the hydrate and the on-shrimp speedy. Ugh. I'll do it after this one because it's so short. The love test. If it is true that you love, said Love, then wait no longer. Give her these jewels which would dishonor her and so dishonor you in loving one dishonored. If it is true that you love, said Love, then wait no longer. I took the jewels and went to her, but she trod upon them sobbing. Teach me to wait. I love you. Then wait, if it is true, said Love. Oh my god. There's so much in these little snippets. Maybe one day I'll sit through and do a little diagnoses on them as a treat. Low-key as a treat for me because I kind of want to do it. Oh my god, more French. The street of the four winds. Remets-tu à demi, croisais tes bras sur ton sein, était ton corps endormi, je sais jamais trop de sein. De chanter la nature, les étoiles dessus la messe du matin. Les coches de soleil à la horizon lointaine. Le ciel qui parlait au cœur de l'existence future. I feel like I speak French with a Spanish accent. Oh, this is story again. Oh, okay. Ooh. I'm excited. Let me quickly see how long this one is, real quick. I'm not gonna read it. Oh, this one isn't bad. I will also read this one. The Street of the Four Winds. The animal paused on the threshold, interrogative, alert, ready for flight if necessary. Severn laid down his pallet and held out a hand of welcome. The cat. Yeah, good luck getting that cat to come over to you, my guy. The cat remained motionless, her yellow eyes fastened upon Severn. Puss, he said in his low, pleasant voice. Come in. The tip of her thin tail twitched uncertainly. Come in, he said again. Apparently she found his voice reassuring, for she slowly settled upon all fours, her eyes still fastened upon him, her tail tucked under her gaunt flanks. He rose from his easel smiling. She eyed him quietly, and when he walked toward her, she watched him bend over her without a wince. Her eyes followed his hand until it touched her head. Then she uttered a ragged mew. It had long been Severn's custom to converse with animals, probably because he lived so much alone. And now he said, "What's the matter, Puss?" "Hey, yo, bro, is cancelled." Oh, no, it's just a kitty. That's why they call him Puss in Boots, because he's a little cat in boots. Her timid eyes sought his. I understand, he said gently. You shall have it at once. Then moving quietly about, he busied himself with the duties of a host, rinsed a saucer, filled it with the rest of the milk from the bottle on the windowsill, and kneeling down, crumbled a roll onto the hollow of his hand. The creature rose and crept toward the saucer. With the handle of a palette knife, he stirred the crumbs and milk together, and stepped back as he thrust her nose into the mess. Oh. I greatly misunderstood the context of the scene. Oh yeah, no, it's like for a literal cat. Oh, where was I? He watched her in silence. From time to time, the saucer clinked upon the tiled floor as she reached for a morsel on the rim, and at last the bread was all gone, and her purple tongue traveled over every unlicked spot until the saucer shone like a polished marble. Then she sat up and, coolly turning her back to him, began her ablutions. "Keep it up," said Severn, much interested. "You need it." She flattened one ear, but neither turned nor interrupted her toilet. As the grime was slowly removed, Severn observed that nature had intended for her for a white cat. Her fur had disappeared in patches from disease or the chances of war. Her tail was bony and her spine sharp. But what charms she had were becoming apparent under vigorous licking, and he waited until she had finished before reopening the conversation. When at last she closed her eyes and folded her forepaws under her breast, he began again very gently. "Puss, tell me your troubles." At the sound of his voice, she broke into a harsh rumbling which he recognized as an attempt to purr. "Oh, sweet baby." He bent over to rub her cheek, and she mewed again, an amiable, inquiring little mew, to which he replied, "Certainly you are greatly improved, and when you recover your plumage, you will be a gorgeous bird." Much flattered, she stood up and marched around and around his legs, pushing her head between them and making pleased remarks, to which he responded with grave politeness. "Now what sent you here?" he said. "Here into the street of the Four Winds, and up 5 flights to the very door where you would be welcome. What was it that prevented your meditated flight when I turned from my canvas to encounter your yellow eyes? Are you a Latin Quarter cat, as I am a Latin Quarter man? And why do you wear a rose-colored flower garter buckled about your neck?" The cat had climbed into his lap and now sat purring as he passed his hand over her thin coat. "Excuse me," he continued in lazy, soothing tones, harmonizing with her purring. "If I seem indelicate, but I cannot help musing on this rose-colored garter, flowered so quaintly and fastened with a silver clasp. For the clasp is silver. I can see the mint mark on the edge, as is prescribed by the law of the French Republic. Now why is this garter woven of rose silk and delicately embroidered? Why is this silken garter with its silver clasp about your famished throat? Am I indiscreet when I inquire if its owner is your owner? Is she some aged dame living in memory of youthful vanities, fond and doting on you, decorating you with her intimate personal attire? The circumference of the garter would suggest this, for your neck is thin and the garter fits you. But then again, I notice most things, that the garter is capable of being much enlarged. These silver-rimmed eyelets, of which I count 5, are proof of that. And now I observe that the 5th eyelet is worn out, as though the tongue and the clasp were accustomed to lie there, and seems to argue a well-rounded form." The cat curled her toes in contentment. The street was very still outside. He murmured on, "Why should your mistress decorate you with an article most necessary to her at all times? Anyway, at most times. How did she come to slip this bit of silk and silver about your neck? Was it the caprice of a moment, when you, before you had lost your pristine plumpness, marched singing into her bedroom to bid her good morning? Of course, and she sat among the pillows, her coiled hair tumbling to her shoulders, as you sprang upon the bed purring, Good day, my lady. Or is it very easy to understand? He yawned, resting his head on the back of the chair. The cat still purred, tightening and relaxing her padded claws over his knee. Stop, she's making biscuits. Little biscuits. Shall I tell you all about her, cat? She is very beautiful, your mistress, he murmured drowsily, and her hair is heavy as burnished gold. I could paint her. Not on canvas, for I should need shades and tones and hues and dyes more splendid than the iris of a splendid rainbow. I can only paint her with closed eyes, for in dreams alone can such colors I need be found. For her eyes I must have azure from skies untroubled by a cloud, the skies of dreamland. For her lips, roses from the palace of slumberland, and for her brow, snowdrifts from mountains which tower in fantastic pinnacles to the moons. Come put it, welcome in, welcome in. You're very beautiful, thank you, Yura. Yeah, he's drawing me in his mind palace. Oh, much higher than our moon here, the crystal moons of dreamland. She is very beautiful, your mistress. The words died on his lips and his eyelids drooped. The cat too was asleep, her cheek turned up from her wasted flank, her paws relaxed and limp. Oh. It is fortunate, said Severn, sitting up and stretching, that we have tided over the dinner hour, for I have nothing to offer you for supper but what may be purchased with 1 silver franc. The cat on his knee rose, arched her back, yawned, and looked up at him. What shall it be? A chicken roast with salad? No. Possibly you prefer beef? Of course. And I shall try an egg and some white bread. Shall I? Now for the wines. Milk for you. Good. I shall take a little water, fresh from the wood, with a motion toward the bucket in the sink. He put on his hat and left the room. The cat followed to the door, and after he had closed it behind him, she settled down, smelling at the cracks, cocking one ear at every creak from the crazy old building. The door below opened and shut. The cat looked serious, for a moment doubtful, and her ears flattened in nervous expectation. Presently she rose with a jerk of her tail and started on a noiseless tour of the studio. She sneezed at a pot of turpentine, hastily retreating to the table, which she presently mounted, and having satisfied her curiosity concerning a roll of red modeling wax, returned to the door and sat down with her eyes on the crack over the threshold. Then she lifted her voice in a thin plaint. When Sever returned, he looked grave, but the cat, joyous and demonstrative, marched around him, rubbing her gaunt body against his legs, driving her head enthusiastically into his hand, and purring until her voice mounted to a squeal. He placed a bit of meat, wrapped in brown paper, upon the table, and with a penknife cut it into shreds. The milk he took from a bottle which had served for medicine, and poured it into the saucer on the hearth, or on the hearth. The cat crouched before it, purring and lapping at the same time. He cooked his egg and ate it with a slice of bread, watching her busy with the shredded meat, and when he had finished and had filled and emptied a cup of water from the bucket in the sink, he sat down, taking her into his lap, where she at once curled up and began her toilet. Oh no! Oh no! It was cute, and then it wasn't. He began to speak again, touching her caressingly at times by way of emphasis. Cat, I have found out where your mistress lives. It is not very far away. It is here. Oh no. It is here under the same leaky roof, but in the north wing, which I had supposed was uninhabited. My janitor tells me this. By chance he is almost sober this evening. The butcher on the Rue de Seine, where I bought your meat, knows you. And old Cabane, the baker, identified you with needless sarcasm. They tell me hard tales of your mistress, which I shall not believe. They say she is idle and vain and pleasure-loving. They say she is harebrained and reckless. The little sculptor on the ground floor who was buying rolls from old Cabane, spoke to me tonight for the first time, although we have always bowed to each other. He said she was very good and very beautiful. He has only seen her once and does not know her name. I thanked him. I don't know why I thanked him so warmly. Cabane said, into this cursed street of the four winds. The four winds blow all things evil. The sculptor looked confused, but when he went out with his rolls, he said to me, I am sure, monsieur, that she is as good as she is beautiful. The cat had finished her toilet and now, springing softly to the floor, went to the door and sniffed. He knelt beside her and unclasped the garter, held it for a moment in his hands. After a while, he said, there is a name engraved upon the silver clasp beneath the buckle. It is a pretty name. Sylvia Elfin. Sylvia is a woman's name. Elfin is the name of a town. In Paris, in this quarter above all, in this street of the four winds, names are worn and put away as the fashions change within the seasons. I know the little town of Elvin, and there I met fate face to face, and fate was unkind. But do you know that in Elvin fate had another name, and that name was Sylvia? He replaced the garter and stood up, looking down at the cat crouched before the closed door. The name of Elvin has a charm for me. It tells me of meadows and clear rivers. The name of Sylvia troubles me like perfume from dead flowers. The cat mewed. Yes, he said soothingly. I will take you back. Your Sylvia is not my Sylvia. The world is wide, and Elvin is not unknown. Yet in the darkness and filth of poorer Paris, in the sad shadows of this ancient house, these names are very pleasant to me. He lifted her in his arms and strode through the silent corridors to the stairs, down 5 flights and into the moonlit court, past the little sculptor's den, and then again in at the gate of the north wing and up the worm-eaten stairs he passed, until he came to a closed door. When he had stood knocking for a long time, something moved behind the door. It opened and he went in. The room was dark. As he crossed the threshold, the cat sprang from his arms and into the shadows. He listened but heard nothing. The silence was oppressive, and he struck a match. At his elbow stood a table, and on the table a candle and a gilded candlestick. This he lighted and then looked around. The chamber was vast, the hangings heavy with embroidery. Over the fireplace towered a carved mantel, gray with the ashes of dead fires. In a recess by the deep-set window stood a bed, from which the bedclothes, soft and fine as lace, trailed to the polished floor. He lifted the candle above his head. A handkerchief lay at his feet. It was faintly perfumed. He turned toward the windows. In front of them was a canapé, and over it were flung pell-mell a gown of silk, a heap of lace-like garments, white and delicate, as spiders meshes long, crumpled gloves, and on the floor beneath, the stockings, the little pointed shoes, and one garter of rosy silk, quaintly flowered and fitted with a silver clasp. Wondering, he stepped forward and drew the heavy curtains from the bed. For a moment the candle flared in his hand, then his eyes met two other eyes, wide open, smiling, and the candle flame flashed over hair as heavy as gold. She was pale, not as white as he. Her eyes were untroubled as a child's, but he stared, trembling from head to foot while the candle flickered in his hands. At last he whispered, "Sylvia." Again he said, "It is I." Then, knowing that she was dead, he kissed her on the mouth. What? And knowing that she was dead, he kissed her on the mouth, and through the long watches of the night, the cat purred on his knee, tightening and relaxing her padded claws, until the sky paled above the street of the four winds. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm genuinely not a little sure how I feel about that one. That's just so strange. Like, he kissed her because she was dead. Maybe it's just like the way that they phrased it that makes it sound really bad. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what it is. You dozed off. No worries, Shu. We're actually gonna go ahead and end today's stream here. And I'm gonna get you guys into Falcor again. They're doing some more reading, so I know they're gonna be super cozy. BB, hi there, Ritter. Hello. I hope you had a wonderful time hanging out here with us. Oh my gosh, don't give me. What? Oh no, wait. Is she not streaming anymore? No, please, I see her streaming. I'm literally looking at her. Oh, I spelled her name wrong. That's what it is. Yes, welcome in. I hope you're doing well. There she is. Alright. Yeah, we are gonna go ahead and get you guys out of here for today. I know that it's a little bit of a shorter ASMR stream, but admittedly, I'm a little hungry and I kinda wanna snack. So I basically just stand up. Oh no! What we do, I do ASMR normally. I go a lot later, but I have a long day full of meetings tomorrow. So I wanna be just a little bit aware for them. But if you want to come back and hang out with us another day, oh my god, I just saw the last bit of your name is Kamalot. Sir Kamalot, if you would like. Please feel free. There are also an 18+ community and an 18+ Discord, so feel free to follow me there. I post a lot of updates. I keep up with the community as best I can. And if you don't want to join the Discord, feel free to follow me on any of my socials as well. Gombore. yeah, we're gonna go say hi to Falcor now, so make sure to for anyone who is awake, make sure to copy the raid message.